Clubhouse preview. We get to Monday night, all the way to Monday night for Tottenham, Paul. It's like, what are they doing? I mean, they're top of the league. They may not be top of the league by the time we're talking about it now, but how joyous has that last 2 weeks been for you as Tottenham riding high at the top of the Premier League table, and deservedly so?
Well, let's be honest. It was fantastic that an international break came around, because Tottenham just sat at the top of the Premier League for the longest that they've been there for a while. There's no games played, but the international break gives us the opportunity to sit there and gloat. Listen, it's great. We've said before on here, just that it's refreshing, the style of play, the manager, everything. There's going to be bumps in the road. They struggled to beat Sheffield United at home. They were losing for 90 minutes of the game. They struggled to beat 9 men at Liverpool. It was a tough game away at Luton. They keep getting results. There are going to be bumps in the road, but I think it's just the way that they're playing. It's a complete breath of fresh air. Are they realistic title contenders? They're there at the moment. Are they going to be there at the end of the season? Not so sure. They'll be in the top 2, but I strongly suspect they'll be in the top 4 the way that they're going. Fulham at home on Monday night, but a lot of people would think that they're not going to cause them that much of a problem. They started last week on Friday night against Luton, so they went first, if you like. This week they're going last against Fulham, so they'll have the pressure now of all the other teams playing before them. And then this coming week they're playing Friday night at home. So they started last week, they're finishing this week, and then they're already starting next week in this week. So it's all the European football competitions you see that's giving Spurs a problem. So they're playing.
Hold on, is he moaning about kickoff? He's moaning about kickoff times with European football. Hold on a minute.
No, I'm just saying it's different pressures. Starting the weekend, finishing the weekend, and then they're starting again next weekend. And I listen. The lack of European football is not wanted at Tottenham. So Tottenham want European football, but I think this season you accept the situation you're in, and it's actually helping them.
Neil, they'll look at Fulham and you look at it and go, well, it's probably a home win. But then Fulham went to Arsenal and did a job there earlier in the season. Yes, they don't have the strike force, but they've got something about them. And Spurs without Yves Bissouma for that pathetic sending off at Luton. Possibilities for Fulham here?
Yeah, I think it'd be a close game. I did a show recently and we looked at all the fixtures at the start of the season, and Tottenham have had the kindest fixtures, so that's fact with Opta. So they've had a kind run of fixtures, but made the most of it to have a really good start. They've had the rub of the green with a few decisions as well. The mood's different. I think that's the big thing you have to say at Spurs. They've definitely had a confidence lift. No way do I think they're in a title race. I think for them, top 4 would be an incredible achievement to get back into Europe and Champions League football. So I think that would be success for them. They'll look at this game and think they can continue that run. Again, it's a kind fixture, Monday night. So they've got all the players back from international. They've got recovery time. They've got preparation time. So things are in place at the moment, going Spurs' way, and you need that little bit of luck. Basuma will be a miss for them. Fulham have a terrible record as well at Spurs, really do. 1 win in 20 years. For Fulham at Spurs. So the question to you is, when Fulham won, which was 10 years ago, who got the goal? 1-0 for Fulham. Who scored Fulham's goal in a 1-0 win? That's their only win in 20 years at Spurs. I'll give you a clue. He also played for Spurs.
Bobby Zamora.
Good guess. Right sort of lines. He was better than Zamora. This guy, Spurs fans would go, is one of the best they've seen at Spurs. What a player.
Are you joking there? I was about to say Danny
Murphy. He's on a wind-up, isn't he? He's on a wind-up.
Yeah. I think this lad was brilliant. I think Spurs fans would have thought that.
Oh, this has got me now, and I'm up against time.
He went to Man United and was a very good player.
Oh. No, hold on. Berbatov,
yeah.
Oh, was it
Berbatov scored the last goal in Fulham's last win at Spurs 1-0. So there you go. I mean, what a player he was, wasn't he?
And what a player he was. Yes.
Yeah.
And still is, if you see.
So they don't have a good record to go to Spurs, but the way that looks being with Spurs this year, you think they'd get an own goal or a ricochet or a VAR decision to win this one.
Lucky old Tottenham, eh? That's
better to be lucky.
He's got manager of the month again this month, Ange. He's got 2 now. He's halfway to Jose Mourinho's collection of manager of the months. That's 4 manager of the months Jose Mourinho got. That's my stat for the week in his whole time in English football. How's that possible?
Harsh.
Maybe we knew the voting panel. Okay, Paul, quickly, I mean, is it just going to be, is this a regulation Tottenham win?
Regulation Tottenham win, very comfortable on home turf. Monday night, under the lights, fans loving life at the moment. This is another 3 points for Tottenham. Top of the league, Monday night.
Okay, I'll wait for that 97th minute winner then against Fulham. We'll see how that goes.
Covering every game of the English Premier League, Champions League and Europa League, live as they happen. For the best live bets, this is Clubhouse TV with sportsbet.io. Please gamble responsibly.
Yes, hello, good evening. I'm afraid it's me again for the third consecutive day. Don't worry, I've got 2 days off after this. We are here for Spurs against Fulham. So the bad news may be that I'm here again. The good news is that this could be a very entertaining game on the Monday night. And the second piece of positivity that I'm going to bring you is that I'm sat alongside Pete Farries. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Two pasty friends with black beards and
wearing similar
varying shades of cream and brown. It's going to be a very samey night. No, I'm looking forward to it. Going to be a really good game. I've not been in the studio for a fair few weeks as well, so what better way than to be in the room with you? I mean, I cannot tell you my level of delight when I realised it wasn't James Butler. Not only was it not James Butler, it was you. I mean, I feel like I've won the lottery today. I've got to say, Jack, I feel like I've won the lottery. And you're going to see a different side to me tonight as well, I think.
Oh, wait, which side have we been watching?
You're not, because you know me very well.
Yeah.
But
which side have we seen so far?
Just the bit where I have to work with James.
Oh, right, okay.
You know when you're furious and kind of unhappy about everything? That's that side of me.
Yeah.
But tonight I'm with one of my very good friends, so I'm going to be really cheery.
I'm going to say a calmer, mellower Farries
honestly,
tonight.
It's going to be really nice. I'm not going to be horrible to anyone. It's going to be a really pleasant kind of utopia this evening.
It is, and the only time he's not going to be mellow is when we get, hopefully, a few goals in the game tonight. It is Spurs against Fulham. You probably knew that already. Spurs are 1.53. The draw is 4.5. And Fulham are 6.0. Pete, argue with this statement if you can. Spurs are going to win this.
No, I'm not going to argue with that at all. Fulham have won 5 away games this calendar year. They've beaten Everton twice in that period, and as we all know, Everton are absolute garbage.
We do know that, yeah.
So, I don't care. They were obviously battered at Man City. Fulham have had an okay season. 11 points so far. That is not an awful season for Fulham, let's be fair. But even with Spurs' pretty hefty injury list, the likes of obviously Romero, Johnson I think is on the bench tonight but is still not fully fit, Bentancur, Perisic, there's a lot of very talented players who are not available today. They're still going to run through Fulham. This Spurs side has got real togetherness, they've got really, really clear tactic, but they've also, I think, just started to enjoy themselves again. And I think that's the most important thing. Kane is gone, and a bit like a few other clubs, you lose your quote-unquote star man, but actually it brings the club together because all of a sudden it's about everyone rather than, well, how do we get the ball to Kane? How do we get the ball to X? How do we get the ball to Y? So I think Spurs win and then some comfortably this evening. And I actually think we're in for a night of a pretty good game as well, actually.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you did get those. You got those journalists who came out as soon as Kane was sold, didn't you? And said, "Oh, okay, Harry Kane may have been holding Spurs back," and everyone scoffed. And everyone went, "What are they talking about?" But actually, maybe there is some credence to that statement. Whether you look at the numbers, the XG, some people are very skeptical about shot data and numbers, and some people bet on pure instinct. Whichever your approach, you cannot ignore how good Spurs have been going forward. Whether that is sort of on the data or to the eye, whichever way you look at it, really impressive under Ange Postecoglou, and as a result, an absolute joy to watch. So every time I'm on a shift here on Clubhouse TV, and I see that I've got a Spurs game, I'm always very pleased. So we look forward to that today. Do let us know what you fancy for tonight. Pop in and say hello as well if you can. Hello to Koki, says hi, Jack and Pete. Pete, long time, didn't see you.
Yes, I've been away. Well, I haven't actually been away at all. I don't know why I've lied to you immediately, and I apologise. No, I've not been away. Look, there's not been that much football, and it's been the international break, which we've all, of course, tolerated. But now that break has gone.
We've accepted.
And the time has come for more Premier League football. We've got Champions League, we've got Europa League, Europa Conference League this week. There's loads on. And I'm very happy to be back. The last time I was in this studio was with James. So, again, very happy for that not to be the situation here.
We've got about 3.5 glorious weeks before the next international break kicks in. And hello to Genetics as well. It says, Pete, the poised Duke of Betorton, Stern, Iron Fist Ruler. What is it?
Betterton,
okay.
Because we're doing the betting stuff.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was thinking it was some sort of Yorkshire village.
Do you know, it might be.
I
don't have overall control on that.
Shall I start again?
No, it's fine.
Okay, let's ignore it. I'll tell you. I'll say my name instead. Jumping Jack Flash the Nobleman. Hello, Genetics. Sorry about the mispronunciations. I can't promise it'll get better from this point on, but I'll do my best. Pete and Jack here on Clubhouse TV with sportsbet.io. We are live until the final whistle of this game tonight. Do let us know what you fancy. What are your bets looking like? And has anyone got a weekend accumulator that just needs Spurs to win to complete it to win? Let us know if you're relying on the Lily Whites tonight. Elsewhere, we'll also be checking in on the other games around Europe. We've got a game in Italy. Just got underway that, actually. Fiorentina against Empoli. 0-0 after 2 minutes. Earlier on, Udinese 1, Lecce 1. Valencia against Cadiz is an 8 o'clock kickoff as well. Yeah. So we'll be having a look at that a bit later on as well. And there's various other games around Europe. So let us know if there's anything that you want us to look at stats-wise in those.
Jack, I've got a controversial thing that I'm going to do at the top of this show before I give my bets. Okay. I've got to go and press some buttons on this screen.
Okay, so I'll focus on me.
Yep, and I'm going to walk around the back of you. Yeah, and then it's all going to be well, okay?
Okay, no rude gestures when you go around the back.
Everyone calm down.
Right, while Pete does that, I will give you some team news. Spurs, Vicario in goal, Doji, we've got Van de Ven, Romero and Porro, Sarr and Højbjerg. Højbjerg, by the way, the only change coming in today. And he, of course, is replacing the suspension in midfield. We saw Bissouma sent off. Didn't we? It was 2 yellows? I can't remember. 2 yellows, I think, for Bissouma. So Højbjerg comes in. Richarlison, Maddison and Kulusevski, with Son leading the line. For Fulham, Leno in goal, Castagne, Bassi, Ream and Robinson, Lukic, Palhinha and Pereira. And then we've got Bobby de Cordova-Reid. Yeah. We've got Carlos Vinicius and Willian, of course.
There is loads of great bets in this. I pressed all the buttons, by the way, and it worked. Yeah, an absolute treat.
Some absolute vintage button pressing.
It was. It really was, and I'm very proud of it. It might be the best thing I've ever done. Look, there's really great value in this one. You've mentioned, obviously, that team news. There's obviously the likes of Willian in there. De Cordova-Reid's had a solid enough season. Big fan of Robinson. I mean, how is Tim Ream still playing in the Premier League is kind of weird.
How's he still moving?
But at the same time, he's had an all right season. Tim Ream's actually had an all right season, despite the fact that, to all intents and purposes, he's simply not very good. So that's a weird one, but I think this team gets torn apart. I'm really not scared at all about this. I think Spurs will win so unbelievably comfortably this evening. So over 1.5 Spurs goals is 1.44. That's a good looking bet.
Yeah.
Spurs themselves are 1.51, which is a perfectly serviceable price. A perfectly serviceable price. But there's a couple here I do like. Spurs minus a goal, 1.84. I think is a really smart price as well because, again, we're expecting Spurs to win by more than a goal this evening. I'm going to go with James Maddison to score here.
Okay, yeah, because we thought Son might have been a bit short.
Yeah, I think look, he's 1.8. Heung-min Son to score any time this evening. Obviously, the hat trick against Burnley, didn't score against Sheffield United, but got the brace against Arsenal. It's an obvious price, and it's not a bad play. That 1.8 for Heung-min Son to score any time is not a bad play.
Yeah.
However, I want to go for a bit more value. I think Fulham are going to give away a few free kicks on the edge of their penalty area here as well, simply with the speed at which Spurs move the ball.
Yeah.
So 2.12 for James Maddison anytime is definitely my favourite goal scorer bet. In terms of cards, I mean, look, it's Anthony Taylor in charge of this game tonight. He's a referee that I personally never get a sort of a huge handle on, particularly. But Spurs' games this season, averaging 4 cards. Fulham 3.5. that's more of an in-player, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. Same with the corners. I've been a bit weird with corner betting recently. I've got really bad at it.
Have you?
Yeah, like really bad at it. So I'm going to kind of leave corners alone for now, I think.
Can I give you some corner stats then instead?
Do you know what? I'd absolutely love that.
I'll take charge of corners because Pete's relationship with them is a little bit rocky. Spurs have won the corner count in 3 of the last 4 games. Now, that Spurs' last 2 home games, they won the corner count 11-5. The home game before that, which was the turnaround against Sheffield United, so obviously they were pushing in the latter stages, they won it 15-2. They actually lost the corner count in their first home game of the season against Manchester United 5-6. So every single one of their home games so far this season has had 11 or more corners. On sportsbet.io right now, you can get over 10.5 corners. So that would have landed in every home game and in most of their away games as well. That would have landed. It is 1.85 for over 10.5 corners in this game.
I'm not going to jinx it by saying that I'm backing that market because with the way my corners betting has gone of late, you will immediately lose. But, the stats, 1.85? The stats tell you everything you need to know. But in terms of favourite bets here, 2.12 Maddison anytime, minus a goal, Spurs in this one, 1.84, and Spurs to score over 1.5 goals, which probably would have been my best bet. But you and I were discussing this before we came on air, and 1.44, I think probably. Do you know what? If I'm best betting anything, which I believe is part of the job I've got to do this evening,
if you don't mind,
just part of the job, 1.84 Spurs minus a goal is probably my best bet, I think.
Okay, great stuff. Hello to Navidarts. Hello, says we're feeling good, guys. How are we? We're good, aren't we?
Yeah, fine. I've had a serious boiler problem in the last couple of days.
Pete's pipes are all over the place.
You have no idea. And yeah, so that's been pretty infuriating. But luckily we got a boiler man around today, and his words were, "I don't know what's wrong." Wow. So very pleased with that. It's been a hellish couple of days, but looking forward to this tonight.
Very well qualified. Brahi and Navidar also asking about the live link. We will ask producer about that. He's doing some sterling work behind the glass, but we'll ask about that. Brahi, yes, says, "Hey man, Pete, how are you?" Hello. And Koki's watching on YouTube. So, thank you very much. You can watch in numerous ways, of course, YouTube and Kick. And we are also often on Telegram as well, which is where we are communicating and where the free bet will be decided as well. So, here we go. Free bet tonight. This is one of Pete's favourites, actually. I'm sure a few of you will know how this works. We're going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4 system.
Yep.
And the 1 tonight. So, we need one of... What do we need? One?
We need one VAR check.
We do.
Result does not matter. It just needs to go to the VAR room.
Yeah, and we need 2
goals at least.
3
cards at least.
I just lift my fingers there. There we go. No one can see what I'm holding up. And 4
corners at least.
There we go. 1 VAR check, 2 goals, 3 cards, and 4 corners at the very minimum. And if you do, you could win yourself a free bet of 10 USDT. As always, it'll be the first 10 in, and it'll be as long as you pop your username in there, please. You need to put your username on Telegram now so we can get those free bets to you. We'll send those off, and your account will be credited within 24 hours, hopefully even sooner than that.
1, 2, 3, 4, baby. It's easy. Vicario in goal. I know that Jack's been through this, but Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven, who of course scored the other day, and Udogi, who probably should have been sent off. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Pape Sarr will be the holding midfielders, as you'd expect, for Spurs this evening. Never really got on with Højbjerg. He's all right. Dejan Kulusevski, James Maddison, I'm backing at 2.12, and Richarlison, who I'm still not the biggest fan of particularly, and Heung-min Son, of whom I'm a gigantic fan.
Højbjerg doesn't like eggs. Did you know that?
Well, I don't like him even more.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of a man doesn't like eggs?
Exactly. So versatile. Viv says, according to Simon's corner theory, should be around 9.5 to 10 corners today, which would maybe it would just fall below the 1.85, but I think Spurs will be quite cornersy.
Yeah, I mean the stats you've given there, 16 and 16 in the last couple of games. I mean that's
there were 13 in Fulham's last game as well. They've not been as corner heavy, admittedly, over the course of the season, but the last couple of games has been 22 across the 2 games. So, yeah,
I think part of betting sometimes, it's not just about the bets you take; it's the bets you don't. And I've not got a single corners market right in living memory. I just cannot, for the life of me, get it right.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those ones where I go, do you know what? For now, I'm going to leave that.
And I would imagine anything beyond living memory, you probably weren't old enough to bet by that point.
Absolutely. So it doesn't really matter then, does it?
Exactly.
But I just haven't got corners recently. I've just not got right. But I think we've got goals tonight for sure. I mean, I wouldn't be stunned if Fulham scored this evening. I know that Spurs don't concede an insane amount of goals. I mean, the goals they've conceded, 2 against Arsenal, 1 against Liverpool. Well, I don't care about any of those, do I? Because I don't care about any of those. I mean, when
just doesn't care, does it?
No, when you hit 5 past Burnley, I don't mind that you concede 2 because it's, you're obviously going to switch off a little bit.
One was it was very late, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the other one, they had to come from behind.
Again,
I'm not too worried about that. The both teams to score, I mean, as a price, the both teams to score tonight is 1.65. I don't mind that, but I'm not entirely desperate to back that.
No, it's pretty even split, actually, across the halves with Spurs. 46% of all the goals in their games have come before half-time and 54% have come after the break. So that's sort of, it's not far off being 50-50. Whereas Fulham, they have gone very sort of low-scoring in the first half. Not a lot of action in the first 45. In fact, 3 of the last 4 Fulham games have been goalless at the break. 67% of the overall goals in Fulham's games this season have come in the second half this season. So we could also, I guess, potentially have a look at a couple of second-half goals when we get a bit closer to that. But you can have a look at it now if you want. But we will be looking at second-half bets at the break. So hopefully we can bring a few of those to you. But so we're settling on those bets. Let us know if you've got anything, whether you agree with Pete. Hopefully it's a big thumbs up for Pete. But if you don't, if it's a big thumbs down, let us know on the Telegram chat.
Do not be down thumbing me.
No. But I would say across the season, there's a lot of things that we probably say that the Clubhouse chat disagree with. But I can't see too many disagreeing with the bets that you put up tonight, Pete. They feel universally popular.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's about kind of sort of saying, well, I'm actually going to go against the grain and go with this big price. And sometimes it's this price for a reason. And this is the form line. And it might not land because that's betting and that's football. Yeah. And Fulham might win 5-0 and we're all going to leave here going, what have we just witnessed? But ultimately, I can't bet, you can't bet, our viewers can't bet on the hypothetical. We can simply just look and say, these are the stats, this is what we think. Let's go.
Yeah. I
think it's a hard way to I think it's certainly hard to argue against that tonight.
We all love saying, the bookies got it wrong, but I think on this occasion they've got it very, very right.
Well, we'll find out.
And that's why we have to try and extract value elsewhere, which hopefully we have done.
You mentioned Spurs to score both halves because you were saying there was a lot of 0-0s at half-time.
Yeah.
Spurs to score both halves, 2.1. Which, considering I expect them to score 2 or 3, is not... I appreciate the stats, but I'm not...
Yeah.
That 2.1 actually looks all right to me, that.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah.
And sometimes it's worth going, these are the stats, let's ignore them.
Yeah.
and say 2.1 for the Spurs to score both halves.
Spurs to win the second half is 1.84.
Yeah, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only thing with that is, as long as they're not too far ahead at half-time, I guess.
That's true. Fulham have lost the second half in 2 of their 4 away games, but those 2 were against Arsenal and Man City. So maybe it is when they go to... They go to tougher places. They don't tend to. Let's have a look. Spurs have won the second half once this season. They were, of course, scored very early against Sheffield United, then fell back behind, then fell level, and then had to win it late. Yeah. And against Liverpool, they conceded in stoppage time at the end of the first half, and they did actually they won the second half there. So 2 or 3. Yeah, I'd take Spurs to win the second half, 1.84. I talked myself into that.
There was someone earlier on the radio. An idiot, we'll call them, who was sort of saying, well, apart from that League Cup penalties win, Fulham get battered by Spurs or beaten by Spurs every single time. I'm like, well, that is true, but at the same time, this is an entirely different Spurs side to ones we've seen since Pochettino. I think probably this is the most impressed anyone's been by a Spurs team since Pochettino, surely.
I think so, yeah. And already on the attack as well.
Down this left-hand side with the Brazilian. It's a strong challenge, but a fair challenge down that right-hand side.
Old peroxided Brazilian. On the move. Played a minute or so of this game. Hello to Marios. Big wave. And Navidad needs 2 goals for his ACCA.
In this game or just generally?
Yeah, let us know. Hopefully, you'll get your 2 goals. I'm pretty sure you get your 2 goals. And you might even get one here because Spurs are on the edge of the area. But Fulham nick it away. And it will be thumped back upfield. But yeah, Spurs, I'm expecting a fast start from Spurs in this game. Yeah. They do tend to do that. And here they are again.
Maddison
as well.
To Heung-min Son, well saved. Bernd Leno just with the outstretched left boot gets very low. He's diving right, but the leg is, of course, left and stops Son. But that was a brilliant little touch through, I think, from Maddison. And what's happening here? What's Anthony Taylor doing here?
So was he offside here? Let's have a look.
Very possibly.
There's a foul. He put his whistle to his lips for a foul.
Right. So he's given a free kick on the edge of the area. Well, I think once he played that level of advantage, I'm not entirely sure.
No.
You can call that back, but we are where we are.
While we wait for that, just can tell you, I've put the stats for Fiorentina Empoli on the screen there.
Yeah.
And it's 3 shots apiece in that game. We played 14 minutes, so quite a good start. 1 shot on target each, just the one corner. That's gone to Empoli. But Fiorentina, the price suggests that they will dominate that game today, but it's not been the case so far. And we have got a goal in Spain, a very early goal in Spain, actually. Valencia. And it's Jose Gaya who has taken the lead. Well, he's given them the lead. Valencia taking the lead. Keeps his cool and puts them 1-0 up. So Cadiz continue to struggle away from home.
I mean, listen, Valencia have not been very good this season. Ruben Baraja is obviously trying to change a lot as Maddison takes his free kick. By the way, brilliant little smart ball, similar to the World Cup 98 through ball to... who was it? Who scored for Argentina against England? Defender! The free kick in the game that Beckham got sent off in.
Oh, yeah. I can't bring it to
my
mind.
brain's just gone to absolute mush. I was going to say, I don't know.
I can't remember the scores from that game.
Zanetti. No, was it Zanetti?
I'm sure someone will...
someone tell us.
Someone will tell us, yeah.
Producer Matt might look into it for us. 98, the free kick that was a dummy, and instead of hit a goal, it's just like a little ball passed sideways and then smashed in. Was it Zanetti? It was Zanetti.
Well, I think we're about to find out.
Anyway, Matt's going to look into it for us. Thank you very much, Matt. Anyway, in Spain, listen, Valencia have not had a very good season so far. It's been a bit tricky for them. I mean, they've played a couple of games fewer than some of the other teams in La Liga. But you go through the side now, and it's really not that great a side. I mean, I don't know how many of these players, Diego Lopez, Duro, Guerra, Amala, Pepe, how many of these get into any of the much better teams in Spain?
Well, how many of them get into the Valencia team of 10 years ago?
Well, no, none is the answer to that. But none of these are any good. The issue is that Cadiz obviously are not good. They're not good away from home. I mean, they won, 2 away games in this calendar year?
Yeah.
And it's not been great for them. If I'm looking at that game right now, I think Valencia probably win that very comfortably indeed. And that's, who picked the 1-0 up.
Yeah.
But I think they will win that very comfortably indeed, I think. And I think the Italian game's really interesting.
They've confirmed it was Zanetti, yeah.
Right.
So you were right. So we can all breathe a sigh of relief now.
Honestly, I felt like I might have to leave.
The one thing you would level at Cadiz is that their away games have been tough. All 4 of their away games so far this season have been to clubs currently sat inside the top 8.
Yep.
And they did go 2-0 up against Atleti. They did pick up a draw against Betis. And actually, Betis are not that good this season. They lost at Barcelona and they lost at Bilbao, and most sides do. So going to Valencia, who, are only just below that in 10th, you'd expect them to give a bit of a game, make a fist of it, but they've gone 1-0 down in 4 minutes.
Yeah, and also, if they'd been solid away last season, then obviously, but they were dreadful away last season as well. So it's kind of, they've started badly. Quite rightly, you've mentioned against good teams, but it doesn't really fill me with confidence, generally speaking.
No.
Vincenzo Italiano's the Fiorentina manager, and it's really interesting at the moment because, listen, they've had a good start to the season. They're 4th in Serie A, and they're playing a side who, in Empoli, are having a really pretty tricky time of it. I mean, you look at what Aurelio Andreazzoli, I think it is. Andrea Zoli. This side, I mean, Caputo obviously was a good player a couple of years ago, but probably isn't anymore. Best player is probably Sebastian Valukovic, who's the defender, the centre-back. But again, if we're talking about what should be happening here, they've scored loads of home goals. They hit 3 past Cagliari, they hit 3 past Atalanta, 2 past Lecce in a draw. But the Artemio Franchi, they are such a good side, and 1.52 might be the fairest price of the night. I mean, what I would say is I am not remotely against. It would be a fairly short price double, but I think it's a good price double just to simply say, do you know what? I'm going to go Spurs, I'm going to go Fiorentina in a double.
Okay.
And I think that
Would you put Valencia in that as well or not? No.
I think they probably win, particularly as they're 1-0 up. But at 1.2, and knowing what Valencia are like, I'd rather just not bother with a 1.2. Do you know what I mean? I think they'll probably win. Because, I mean, it's 2.17 for those 2 home sides to score as Spurs put one over the bar on the penalty spot. Very, very close to an opening goal there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Brilliant little free kick, knocked back in and then volleyed over. Although there might be a couple of questions about the flag. But anyway. So it's 2.2 right now for Fiorentina and Spurs to win, Jack, right?
Yeah.
You add Valencia, it's 1.2. and then it becomes 2.61.
It's not doing a lot of
and
heavy
it's like,
lifting,
well,
is it? Yeah.
if I don't trust them, I'd rather just have this double. So that's what I'm going to go with. Valencia and... not Valencia, that's the exact one I'm not going to go with. Fiorentina and Spurs double there.
Yeah, and the thing about Empoli is... What have we got here?
Now, have we got a VAR check here for a penalty?
Oh, is this the one VAR check ticked off for the free bet? Oh, penalty Spurs, says Viv. All right, okay.
Through ball here. No, that'll be a free kick, I think, won't it?
It should be outside the area, yeah.
That should be a free
Contact
kick.
was made outside the area there.
However, if this is a VAR check, it doesn't matter.
It still
as long as it
qualifies
gets
for the
checked by the
free
VAR,
bet.
as long as I see the lovely purple colours of VAR, then all that matters is that that's the first part of the free bet
And we
ticked
can
off.
do a big tick.
We can.
Yeah.
In fact, should we do it on a wall?
Yeah. Pete's
There's a Sharpie here. Should we graffiti at the studio?
Yeah. Pete's going to put a massive tick on the wall.
Imagine if Gav came in tomorrow and I'd just put massive ticks all over the wall.
And signed it.
And signed it. So that I couldn't get away with the crime.
Well, you just said on air now as well. That makes it more difficult. Oh, goal Empoli.
Right. I don't mind. Fiorentina concede goals. That is, I mean, I'd rather it hadn't happened.
Yeah.
But they concede goals. And so it doesn't really worry me. When it comes back, I'm going to be going with Fiorentina to win that game. I don't think we've had an official VAR check, have we?
No, I don't know if we have.
So it's not going to be an official VAR check. But
it has been given just outside the area, hasn't it, here?
Now, back Madison at 2.21, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To score any time in this game. If he pops this one in, that'll be a lovely start to the betting action today.
It will indeed. I was going to say about Empoli, by the way, they haven't scored away from home yet, and they've conceded 49 shots in 3 games on the road. So the Fiorentina are bound to at least get a couple. Here comes Spurs.
No, James Maddison. You do not pass that ball. You shoot at goal. I have backed you at just over 2. You do not roll that behind you, you annoying man.
He's got no respect for your bets.
He's got absolutely zero respect for my anytime goal scorer bet. Who does he think he is? In fact, should we go to Spurs right now?
Yeah.
Could we get there before full time? No, we couldn't.
Not on British transport.
No.
No.
Or in a car.
Yeah. Spurs.
Which, to be honest, I think would have been easier to get from
It would
this
have been.
point.
I don't know why my instinct was train. I think because it's on the stadium's on the train line, I just assumed that it would be easier than park.
We could drive on the train line. But, I mean, again, that feels unnecessarily dangerous.
But good start from Spurs.
Yeah, they look lively. I mean, right now, first half win. First half 1-2, which is, team to win or draw the first half. 1.99 Spurs to win the first half right now, which looks unarguably attractive to me.
Yeah, I think that's good as well. You can also do the minutes markets as well, can't you? So you can have Spurs winning by the 30th minute, 2.75. By the 40th minute, 2.2.
I don't mind those markets, but I don't want to say a coward, but I if I'm backing them to win the first half, I just want to have the first half. The 20, 30-minute mark, I think the only time I would play that is when it's kind of shot after shot after shot, like total domination, which is not what we're seeing. I mean, they are undoubtedly on top here, but we're not seeing kind of sort of Leno having to make save after save after save, or corner after corner even. Chance down this right-hand side for Fulham, by the way. Deco's over Reed. We'll try and play it in first time and some good defending. Is that our first corner of the game? Or
yeah, I think it is going to be. I suppose with those markets as well, you know that the biggest frustration of betting would be if that goal goes in on 31 and you've bet them to be lead on 30, because inevitably it will happen.
Or if someone gets an injury on like the 26th minute, and then you have to sit there and watch as not even no
Time
goal happens,
trickles
but
away.
no actual football happens either.
Yeah.
One corner down though.
Absolutely, here it is. I'm going to have a look at Anthony Taylor's card record, actually, in recent Premier League games.
Nodded towards goal. What a save that is. That is an absolutely stunning save. That is absolutely...
That's going to be another corner, I think, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we will see in a second. It might not be, actually, but that is an absolute belter from Vicario. That is a brilliant stop, that. It's not just a dive, it's a strong arm as well. Best save I've seen this season, I think.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's a really good save.
I mean, you'll get the Paul Mersons of this world sort of saying, well, it was a good out for him. Well, I don't care. It's a brilliantly strong hand, and he's reacted superbly. And also, even though it's difficult, he's managed to get it far enough out to the left to at least ease a few problems. So that is an absolutely belting stop. That's a really, really good save.
Yeah, it's a really good save. Last time Anthony Taylor refereed Spurs, it was back in May, and it was their victory over Leeds. It was their 4-1 victory over Leeds. He didn't give a single card to Spurs that day.
To be fair, Leeds players didn't touch them, did they?
No.
That's true. They were long away from.
Yeah, I
these players
don't
out
think Andy Taylor's big on the cards particularly. He was during Croatia-Turkey during the international break where he gave 9, but Brighton-Liverpool he only gave 3. Everton-Luton just the 1, and Arsenal. I suppose Arsenal-Manchester United had a bit of fire about it. 5 there, and 4 in the game between Brighton and West Ham. 6 between Chelsea and Liverpool back in August. I'm not seeing big numbers from him, but he's sort of trotting out an average number of cards. And in terms of the Premier League teams, it's sort of Fulham are kind of mid-range when it comes to yellows. They certainly have more than Spurs. 3 for João Palhinha. He's had the most of any player so far. Andres Pereira is 2. Who else have we got? Kenny Tete's not in the 11. Anthony Robinson 1. Bobby De Cordova-Reid 1. So yeah.
Look, Richarlison will get booked at some point.
Yeah.
So that's 1.
Yeah.
And then after that, you don't need too many more. By the way, Fiorentina have come back at 2.3.
Udoji's had 3 as well this season.
Well, yeah, and should have been sent off the other day as
well.
Just very quickly, Fiorentina at 2.3, which is a price I stand by.
Yes, and so you should.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will. Just watch me.
Kulusevski at home so far for Spurs is averaging 3.7 shots per game. Feels like a big number.
Yeah, Kulusevski, he's
only scored 1, but he's averaging 3.7 per game.
I like him a lot. Just that's all I've got to say.
That's the end. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I like
that's more than Maddison.
I think he's. You use the word industrious, and you often have the idea of like a kind of a boring kind of just hard-working midfielder. But I think he's got all the flair and all the creativity, but he actually moves really well.
Yeah.
And his positioning's often very solid. So I'm a big fan of Dejan Kulusevski. I half considered him for a goal. We talked about the anytime goal scorers pre-match, and he has scored in the last couple of weeks as well, hasn't he? He scored against Sheffield United in that 2-1 win. He got that second of the 90-minute. Well, 90.
It was very late, was it? 90 plus 8?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But he's just very, very good at football.
Anyone on Kulusevski for a goal tonight? Let us know if he's your man that you're looking out for. Is he in your fantasy team as well? If he is, hoping for another 3.7 shots with one of them going in. But that's if you were to say, at home, which Spurs player is going to have the most shots of any player? You would hands down say Maddison, wouldn't you?
Well, or you'd say
Son.
Yeah,
you'd
say you wouldn't immediately. You certainly wouldn't be saying Kulusevski first.
No, it's Kulusevski 3.7, Pape Matar 3.3, Maddison 3.
I'm saying him either.
And no one's saying him. And Son Heung-min 2.7. He's averaging, and all of them sort of are level on goals as well at home. That's only at home. It's not away. Yeah.
Isn't it mad to see Spurs looking like they're enjoying playing football again? It does make you sort of sad a little bit and sort of say, what would Kane have done in this team?
Yeah.
Like, would Kane have stopped standing on the halfway line? Would he maybe feel a little less pressure? Like, I'd have loved to have seen Harry Kane in this Ange Postecoglou side, because I feel like he's been there after Pochettino when he could have left numerous times. He's been there during a rubbish period.
Playing for Jose Mourinho.
Yeah,
Good
Mourinho,
God.
Conte, and just very talented managers, but where kind of the enjoyment is not just sort of like sucked out of the game, but kind of entirely vacuumed. And it's just kind of, it would be nice to see him in this team, but
vacuum and then mopped, I think.
Can you mop something that's been vacuumed?
You could mop a floor that's been vacuumed.
Yeah, I was thinking more of a space size vacuum than just say
you probably won't mop that, would you?
A Henry the Hoover or a Dyson.
I was thinking sort of very domestically.
You were thinking incredible. This sums our friendship. I mean, the amount of times me and Jack get domestic appliances and the space mixed up.
Pete's got the imagination.
Twice a day, right?
Pete's got the imagination, and I've got the I can't even say it.
Domesticity.
The
amount of times I say, should we go and get a coffee? To Jack, he's like, I can't. I'm vacuuming. And I go, you're in space? He goes, no, I'm just at home. Using the Dyson.
Yeah. I've just got a child who's just put peas all over the floor.
Yeah. And she'll do that.
Yeah.
Although she's an absolute legend, so she's allowed to.
Have to spray her peas wherever she wants.
Yeah. She's brilliant. Anyway, we don't need to get into worshipping Jack's daughter on this channel while she is an absolute legend. Fulham, you can see to a certain extent what Fulham are trying to do here. They on the counter, they are going out to the wings immediately.
Yeah.
But The problem they've got is that up front there is so little movement that when you get into the wings with De Cordova-Reid, with Willian, Spurs immediately put the pressure on and there's nowhere to go because no one's caught up with it yet. No one's caught up with the level of play.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. I was talking to you about this before we came out with a game I did at the weekend. But they need to be slightly more attuned to the counter-attack, I would argue. That's another faked free kick there.
It's really hard to pick a Fulham goal scorer, isn't it? Really hard to pick a Fulham goal scorer.
Yeah.
I was having a look at their stats. No one has scored more than 2, and that is Bobby De Cordova-Reid. No one has scored more than 1 away from home, and no one is averaging more than 1.6 shots per game.
I suppose Vinicius has got 2 in the last 4. You'd probably look that way, but I'm sort of stretching there. I'm not. That's not a comfortable selection by any stretch of the imagination. I'm stretching there a bit.
He's got 1 Premier League. He got 1 of the League Cup, I think, as well, didn't he? I think. He's only played 154 minutes Vinicius so far this season, but I don't know. I'd find it really. If you said, right, find me a Fulham goal scorer, I think I'd probably have to settle on Bobby De Cordova-Reid, but I would still be going, oh no, I'm not sure, Pete.
Maybe Willian, just because he pops up with little kind of purple patches every now and again. But and to be fair, we're not desperate to find a Fulham goal scorer.
No, we're not.
Either,
no.
But you're absolutely right.
But it highlights their problem.
That's a great touch,
Although
though.
Here they are.
Willian over the halfway line here. Good movement through the centre from Carlos Vinicius, but Van de Ven will deal with it. I mean, runs it out of play, but to be fair, he's going at such a lick. You can't really criticise him for that.
No, so 0-0, 19 minutes played. Those pre-match prices have not changed all that much. 1.52 for Spurs, draw 4.1, and Fulham can be backed at 7.2. Spurs, loads of goals so far this season. Haven't scored more than 2 per game at home. If we are assuming that Fulham do not contribute to the goal count, is unders a play at 1.91? Or are we scared of a 3-0 Spurs win?
The thing is, I think Spurs score twice in this game, right? So straight away, while of course 2-0 is unders, straight away you're saying if you think they definitely do that, then I've only got 1 goal of safety.
Yeah, true. Actually, yeah.
And again, that's not to say that's bad, but if I'm absolutely set, absolutely determined on Spurs scoring twice, then do I want to take the risk on the possibility of a Fulham goal or Spurs making it worse? For me, that just puts you too close to the quote-unquote precipice of that market.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if there's anyone at home or you or Matt who's watching and saying, do you know what, I am going to go with unders, I'm not going to scream in your face, but I don't like that. There's not enough safety baked into that market for me when I feel the game is going to go the way I feel it's going to go.
It would be a rather over-the-top reaction, wouldn't it, to an unders bet? But here is another corner for Fulham. Is that corner number 2? I think it is.
It's modernized, isn't it?
Is it number 3? That might be number 3, actually, yeah. Let's have a check on the official stats, shall we? Fulham had the corner early on, didn't they? I think that's number 2.
Oh, right, apologies.
Yeah.
I thought we had a third.
Either way, we only need 4.
I mean, just going back to that unders-overs market there. Over 2.5 is 2.04. Under 2.5 is 1.85. Now, bear in mind that outside of the Luton game, Spurs have scored at least twice in every game this season. So outside the Luton game, they've scored twice every time.
And they were down to 10 men in that one.
And they were down to 10 men. So do I want to take a 2.04 for something that happens loads and I think is going to happen, or the smaller price, the 1.85 for something that, to be honest, I'm not entirely sold on? Well,
yeah, I suppose it's the 20 minutes gone factor, as it's not known. At the start of the match, they were sort of level pegging, really. Another foul here. Anthony Taylor not getting his cards out yet.
João Paulinho, who you mentioned earlier on,
hasn't he? Yeah.
Has been Fulham's Mr. Cards. Strong. That looked relatively fair to me. It looks strong.
Yeah,
but relatively fair. To
it's
me,
the trajectory, isn't it? Rather than the actual contact wasn't that.
And then,
bad.
of course, a little bit of afters afterwards, but because that's when afters happen more often than not. It's very hard to have afters before something's happened.
I hate pre-afters.
Yeah. Afters is. I'd go as far as to say afters is exclusive to something once it's happened.
Yeah. Unless you start your meal with an after 8, which you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't.
Hey, listen, if you're a grown-up, you can do what you want.
Yeah, maybe I'm. Yeah, maybe I'm sort of blinded by the fact I don't like them anyway.
Can I just take us on a hand-in-hand journey to Spain?
Oh, I'd love that.
Because it is 1-0 at the moment to Valencia in this game. As Jack rightly said earlier on, Jose Gaya, the man with the goal. I'm I'm looking at the stats here, and Valencia are comfortably on top. Not dominating, not kind of destroying, but they're leading and they're on top. This is Spanish football after all. When the markets come back, I wouldn't mind a second Valencia goal, possibly a third, but probably just a second. And the other thing to say is that we've had 3 corners in this game so far.
Oh, we've got a red card, Cadiz.
Oh, right. Well, then once the prices come back, then I'll definitely take a look at
Robert Navarro is gone. Horror tackle described as, Pete. And the game is interrupted because Pepelu has picked up a knock as a result of the tackle. There you go.
Fiorentina as well, 2.68. Even game that one. I mean, 4 corners, though, so far. So the corners market in Italy might be worth a little bit of a flirtation there. I mean, hang on, is that right? 3 corners to 1 for Empoli is actually Spurs just coming to the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, so 3-1 at the moment, yeah.
Look, 3-1... We're towards the half-hour mark. Is not obviously a kind of a gigantic battering in the corners market. But what price would you take for Empoli right now to win the corners market in the game? 3-1 up as things stand.
Oh, I think it'd be. I would accept something reasonably short because they've got the advantage. Take 1.8.
Cool. They're 3.
That's not bad, is it?
Fiorentina, despite being a couple of corners down in the game, are 1.57.
Yeah.
So you could look at Empoli to win the corners market, which I don't think is a bad idea. But what about just the race market? I mean, they've got a 2 corner head start here, Empoli. Race to 5 corners is 2.44. In fact, you know what? That's going to get... I'm going to back that.
Excellent. Navidart says Empoli might win.
I hope they don't, because I've had a... I really hope they don't, because I've had a very solid
bet
today on
they
Fiorentina.
might.
One of the bets I had before Jack and Matt got into the studio, I was like, got to the office today, I was like, I'm going to back Fiorentina to win this. Again, I hope they don't. But you might be right. You might well be right.
Yeah, it might be right. Who knows? They are in prime position at the moment, though, and certainly banging in those corners. Right, here comes a second Valencia goal by the looks of it. Who do you think it's going to be? Hugo Duro? Maybe. He's got a good record at home at the Mestalla. Let's find out. Cadiz, we know, are down to 10 men. Pepelu is back and on his feet, by the way, in case you were worried about him. Chances are you weren't, but in case you were, he's back on his feet. And Valencia look like they are about to score a second goal. They have, it's confirmed.
Well,
barring a VAR check.
It's one of those things. I'm not too...
It is Hugo Duro. There we go.
If only I had a bet on that.
And did you?
No, if only you had.
Oh, only I had, yeah. If only you had.
Yeah. If only I had a bet, it would be 0-0 after 25 minutes. And Valencia would be 2-0 up and Cadiz would have had a player sent off. If only I had backed all those things in the market. If only I had backed Leicester to win the Premier League at 5,000 to 1, or whatever price they were when they won it. This is a bit of nice movement down this right-hand side from Spurs. It's just, it's players... Why are you offside there? It's players... looking so much happier, isn't it? I don't even think this squad is kind of incredible.
No. The old phrase, shackles off?
Yeah, it is that, really. I mean, I know that Richarlison's in the Brazil team and a lot of people love him. I find him infuriating, and I feel like if I was a manager, I'd be sort of annoyed with him all the time and just wouldn't want to start him.
Yeah.
Sar's all right. I mean, obviously, Kuliszewski, I really love. Of course, you love Heung-min Son. Højbjerg, yeah. But Udogie, Pedro Porro, I'm not a gigantic fanboy of Pedro Porro. Just don't think it's that great a squad. Dyer on the bench, Lo Celso and Johnson obviously coming back from injuries. Ollie Skip's a good player. I like Ollie Skip, but
I mean, the thing is, I think the job he's doing is made more remarkable by the fact that he's quite an average squad.
Yeah, no, it is 100%. But I suppose if you're a manager, and one of the first things that you've got to do when you take over a club that's not in kind of a spiral, but just isn't doing very well, it's an easy thing to go in and go, these players have really hated playing football for 2-3 years, or last year at least. I suppose it's quite easy to go in there and go, well, the first thing I've got to do is just let them all have fun again. Yeah. And that'll give us like a 30-40 extra
smile.
boost.
Just let them smile.
Just a 40% extra boost from the second we go in. Richarlison down this left-hand side, edge of the penalty area, just darts back to the right boot, lays it off. Nice little touch off from Maddison as well as a strike in. It's right down the throat of Bernd Leno. Look who it is.
Yeah.
So, look, I think this is better from Spurs. That's nice football. Maddison's done exactly the right thing. Strikes right down the keeper's throat, but better from Tottenham.
If you want a short price bet in the Valencia game, Valencia to win the second half is 1.48, which is
Against 10 men.
Yeah, which is not bad at all.
In a season where you've been kind of average and you could do with blowing someone up. You could do with sort of running through a team.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not bad at all, that.
I don't think that's bad, no. And the other thing to note is that Cadiz, until today, had only conceded one first-half goal. They have conceded at least 2 goals in the second half of 3 of their 4 away games so far.
Yeah, that's telling, isn't it? That?
Yeah. So if you want a short price bet, that 1.48 on Valencia to win the second half looks pretty good. But also, then you could also take over 3.5 Valencia goals at 1.83. I need 2 more. And we're not even at half time yet.
Yeah, and obviously the race market's there for corners. I mean, we obviously talked about the race to 5 for Empoli, which is just so good. I mean, that is, look, 3 corners to 1. I'm playing well in the game and leading, and you're getting the race to 5 at 2.54 now. Come on.
Yeah. Stats pointing us towards Empoli there. Just the 2 corners in this game, though, as you can see on screen there, they've both gone the way of Fulham. We said that Spurs were quite corner heavy. They've not been so far.
No, it's been maybe a frustrating evening for them so far, but they still win the game. I mean, I'm not, and it could even be that once they get 1, they get 2. But I'm not worried at the moment. I mean, obviously, my best bet pre-match was -1 Spurs here.
Yeah, but we did mention how many goals Fulham conceded in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the case of sort of beating them up and then killing them off in the second half. I don't know.
So we will not be shedding a tear if this is 0-0 at the break. I mean, entertainment-wise, we'd like a goal in the first half.
Imagine if we both just started crying on air now.
Imagine 45 minutes of weeping.
2 men in their mid-30s just crying because it's 0-0 at half-time.
I was about to say 2 respectable men, but then I retracted that.
No.
But yeah, imagine that. We won't be doing that, by the way, just to warn you. But
unless it comes naturally.
Of course. Yeah, sometimes you can't hold the floods back, can you?
Maddison, brilliant ball out to this right-hand side. Only Heung-min Son in the centre to be found. Plenty more bursting forward, including Maddison. Laid off. Richarlison. Wide of goal.
And that's why you don't like him.
Kind of glad he missed that in a way because it would have embarrassed me. But look, Richarlison, he's all right. But I wouldn't have him in a top 6 Premier League team. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And we're all entitled to it. But great work down the right-hand side. Brilliant break. Exactly the right ball as well. Exactly the right choice.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Richarlison can't hit the target, but very close. Even you didn't see this because obviously it's over there, but even Matt, as it happened, Matt went, oh.
Did he? Was that his reaction?
I saw him in my corner of my eye go, oh, like that, which I liked.
Yeah. I wonder if he's got money on Richarlison. Have you got money on Richarlison, Matt? No.
Are you going to give me £1,000, Matt? Yes. Incredible. Thanks very much. Well, this has been a very good development. The last
very profitable, yeah.
I've never seen a man shake his head more.
No.
Could be a chance here again for Maddison out to the right-hand side. That's a great little through ball. Heung-min Son's shot is a little scuffed.
Trickles.
But the screw is turning. The screw is turning.
They're finding gaps, aren't they?
They're finding gaps. And when they're finding gaps, obviously they're creating their own gaps. So Fulham are going, right, we can do... Oh, no, they found our gaps again. So it's much, much better, this. I mean, that's a push strike from Son. He'll be disappointed with that.
Was he off balance? I mean, I don't know why I'm looking for excuses from him. He can find his own, I'm sure. But
I don't know. Should we text him? I'll text him.
Yeah. But I mean, that will count as obviously as an effort on goal. It was a weak one, but it's just a sign that things are ramping up.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be a decent chance again.
It does also show that, when you see shots on target, you do have to dig a little deeper sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what the XG was, wasn't it? It was kind of, well, should we actually find out what the quality of this chance was? But then all of a sudden, you get an XG and contributions of that, which then don't make any sense. I think the best thing to do is watch the game.
Ah, I never thought of that.
Yeah, just watch the game. And then decide for yourself whether or not you think a chance was a good chance or a bad chance. I watched I commentated on the Borough Birmingham game, thank you, on Saturday. My brain just completely died there. And to be honest, Borough had, I think 17 shots in the game. And, there wasn't that many that John really had to sort of pull off saves in, really.
Yeah, it's Spurs on the attack again, but it fizzles out. But yeah, it is about quality of chance. But then I do quite like XG in terms of give me an idea of how a game that I could have watched went. But I do have skepticism about who's recording it, what's their take on it.
Yeah.
I think pinch of salt very much required.
Yes, it's very much pinch of salt territory. But I'm just not Yeah, it's a weird one, that stat. I mean, I don't think it should be entirely derided and ignored, but I'm not getting into this kind of, and now let's look at the XG. Like, well, no.
I actually think that XG works better long term than it does medium or short term.
Yeah, I get that.
In terms of, this side have started the season really well, but actually look at their XG shows that they've conceded loads of chances and they're not creating much.
Yeah.
I always think that comes home to roost a little later on. One example, I guess, that you could use is MK Dons, who started the season by beating Wrexham 5-3 in League Two. All the numbers were pointing towards them being quite poor, but they were getting these results. And then all of a sudden the results drop off, the manager's sacked, and now they're really struggling to buy a win. And I feel like that sort of over the course of a season, it works out. Empoli have got a second. So, Navidad said Empoli might win. Looks like they will. Sorry, Pete.
I'm furious. Chance to edge of the penalty area here. By the way, Fulham had a great counter-attacking opportunity, which they wasted with a really poor ball. Spurs just knocking it around the edge of the area. Here's Maddison, might cut to the right boot, couple of step overs. Maddison's strike is low. It's fairly tame. It's dealt with by Leno. I am deeply unhappy here.
Are you furious at Francesco Caputo, who's got both goals?
No, because he's only doing his job. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm furious at every single other Fiorentina. Well,
Right, okay.
Every single
Fiorentina
player.
defender, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, here's a list of people I don't like at the moment. Michael Coyote, Cuarta, Milenkovic, and, of course, the left-back, really good left-back, actually, Fabiano Parisi.
Not today, he's not.
You'll see a bit more of Parisi over the next few years. He's still relatively young, I think, Parisi. He's a very good player. 22. Big fan of Parisi. Every time I've seen him, he's been really, really good. Well, look, I was really strong on Fiorentina, and right now it's hard to see how that's going to go my way. Goal overturned, I believe, coming through. A VAR check.
Oh, right, okay.
We'll get confirmation of that in just a second.
We'll have a look at that.
But yeah, I'm right now, though, just a reminder. Empoli,
yes, it's being VAR'd, yeah.
Empoli are 3 corners to 1 up to win the corner market at 2.6. And the race to 5 corners is 2.66 for Empoli, which looks brilliant to me. Through ball looking for Son.
At least you can save your ire for now.
I mean, it's still 1-0 down, so I'm still fuming.
Yes, true. Yeah.
It's just I'm angry, but with a chance of redemption, whereas before I was angry and had given up.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Spurs 1.55, by the way. Spurs' first goal of the game, 1.43. Have we got another?
Is that Lolo Jones going first goal?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Have we got another?
We've got a card
here? Yeah.
God.
Not another card. We haven't had one yet. A card. A first card.
Yeah. So 1 card down now.
I'm not surprised actually. It's Højbjerg.
No, I'm not particularly.
No. Oh, right. We might have a Spurs goal here. Fulham playing it out at the back at the moment. And it's a wasteful ball. It's a loose one. Richarlison finds Son. Son edge of the area. Loads of space. Smashes it home. Spurs lead. Well. There we go. From what was a Fulham free kick. It's a Spurs goal. And it's on at 1.8.
So one of the key tenets, if you're trying to play out of the back, is obviously movement to give your goalkeeper and your fellow defenders choice. And if you are going to do that, I'm going to be controversial here, you have to be able to pass. Right? So first pass here, immediate pressure on. So where does he go? He can't go out to the right-hand side, so he's got to go through the middle. The problem is if you pin a defender into going through the middle, right, then your opponents know, and you had 2 Spurs players there. Watch.
Is that Bassi and Ream getting in one another's way here?
But either way,
yeah, look.
You cannot telegraph a pass. Like if you're passing out of play, you need to be either at the wings very quickly, or you basically need to have plenty of movement from your back line. You know, the second centre back stretching out to the other side, your wing back tucking in deeper if you need to go that way. But no, it's awful defending.
It is awful. Yeah.
First goal. So Lolo Jones, who went Tottenham first goal.
Yeah. Yeah, well done to Viv as well. It says my 3.9 bet builder landed on the first half as well. Thumbs up for that.
What was that, Viv? Let us know, mate, because that's a great shout.
Yeah,
well
goal says Navidad.
Well, look, 1.8 Heung-min Son was pre-match for an anytime goal. we didn't coward out of it, but we just preferred to play some bigger prices. But again, as we said at the start of the match, sometimes a price is short for good reason.
Yeah, and you talked about Spurs to score both halves, didn't you?
I did.
Spurs win both halves.
Spurs win both.
Spurs
score
both halves.
Sorry, Spurs. Well, sorry, everyone. I appear to have come to the end of my personality. What's that thing? She sells seashells on the seashore.
You reminded me of a horse trying to swallow an apple there.
Not the first time that's been said to me today, sadly. My girlfriend is getting meaner. But yeah, look, the fact is now, obviously, the overs and the goals for Spurs is obviously not in, but is looking better. The handicap market. But look at how panicky, look at how kind of disorganised Fulham are now. I wouldn't be against another first half Spurs goal here. I mean, Spurs' second goal is 1.51. I'm laughing because again in the corner of my eye I saw Matt go.
Another Spurs first half goal is 3.1.
That is not a bad price.
I quite like that. Yeah, I quite like that.
It's an eight or so minute market, 8 and change. I don't love those markets, but what we're seeing right now, that's a fair price.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, absolutely dreadful defending from Fulham there with Bassey and Ream just pushing one another out the way, and it opened up for Son.
Well, it's the panic, isn't it?
Yeah, and here's the first Spurs corner. That's 3 corners now.
So we need one more to activate that tranche of the free bet.
We've had 1 yellow.
So yeah, we need 2 more of those. We need a VAR check. We've got one of the goals.
Yes.
So the last sort of 5 minutes with the card, the corner, and the goal, it's been a much better.
Yeah, we're looking all right, aren't we?
Been much more helpful, hasn't it, for the free bet?
Spurs heading towards the other corner now. Still have plenty of players up. Some of the defenders sort of slowly trudging back, but keeping their eye on proceedings in case they need to get themselves back in the box. Cross edge of the area, Richarlison goes for it.
He put that in not knowing where that was going there. You can see from the start, he just he laced it up into the air, kind of going, well, there's plenty of my guys on the edge of the area. Like, that was just a bit weird. That were all, but
Viv's bet builder was Son 1 shot on target, Son to score, Maddison 1 shot on target, Paulinho 1 foul, and Reed 1 foul. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all, is it?
That's an absolutely exceptional bet.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, well done, Viv.
Well done, Viv.
Great stuff.
And as per usual, I assume I'll be getting some of the profit.
Is that what you've agreed?
No, but, first time for everything. Chance here for Spurs again. Well blocked. Edge of the area drilled. I think possibly into his own man. No, it's a corner kick.
4 corners.
Yes, superb work that. Kulishevsky with the strike. Out for a corner kick. But look, this has been... The dam is broken is not the right phrase at the moment, but Fulham are.
Yeah, definitely.
Fulham definitely are.
If you're a fan of fast turnarounds, by the way, young PSV were 3-1 up on Eindhoven in the second tier of the Netherlands tonight. Eindhoven have scored on 77, 80 and 81 and now lead 4-3.
Dutch Eerste Divisie.
Great.
Is there anything
great division,
more ludicrously goal-filled? Shot from range.
2-0 tonight, but apart from that, some brilliant games. We had a.
Is there anything more goal-filled? Well, 2-0 tonight, but
we had a 9-6 on air on Saturday afternoon in the Czech Republic.
That's quite a lot of goals.
Quite a lot of goals, wasn't it? Yeah. I enjoyed that one. Here's another corner. What are we on now? Must be on 5 corners, I think, here. At least.
Again, edge of the area. Low
5
cross
corners.
in. So the corner section of the free bet has landed.
Done. Pete's going to put a tick on the wall, aren't you?
No one tell Gav it was me.
Yeah.
Can everyone tell Gav it was James, please?
Yeah. It was definitely James.
I saw it.
I saw him.
Matt, did you see James drawing all over the walls? Yeah, he saw it as well.
Yeah. He had his top off as well as drawing on his own chest.
And some of the stuff he was saying about Gav was absolutely awful. Honestly, I've never heard such horrible things.
Well, some of the stuff he'd written on the wall, actually, I sponged some of that off just to maintain,
I'll go back over it, though. I'll trace it now. Imagine we got James fired. Anyway, down this left-hand side, Fulham coming forward nicely. Could be half a chance for them. Not a bad ball in towards the back post. Not a back down now. There's going to be half-hearted shouts for a handball. I don't think it's going to be given. Decordova-Reid trying to nod it back across. Doji's been a little bit... mercurial's the nice phrase for it. Completely lost his position there. I think he's all right.
And his concentration.
Yeah, I think he's all right there.
What was my corner bet? Was it over 9.5?
10.5.
10.5. Okay. Yeah, don't get carried away, Jack.
No.
But we're on 6 now.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy with that progress.
The 3 for Empoli to win the corners market as well, by the way. Nothing's changed. Still 3 corners to 1. And the race to 5 for Empoli in that Italian Serie A game remains a really good price, by the way. 2.56. That's a really, really attractive price for that race to 5 market.
Currently half time in that game as well.
Yeah, not long half time. Yeah, they started a little bit earlier. But Yeah, Fulham wasteful with that half chance there. I love that as well. Vicario, literally, his team are 1-0 up. There's 3 minutes to the end of the official end of the first half. And he sprinted to get the ball. Like, I like that. That is a guy who loves playing football and wants to hurry.
That's a guy with purpose, isn't it?
So, look, Spurs here playing out the back. No pressure from Fulham whatsoever. So they're able to take their time. Look, Fulham just kind of half-heartedly pressing and pushing. And that's fine. That is a tactic.
That's fine. Yeah.
But Spurs are still moving the ball much nicer than Fulham have done when they've tried to play at the back. They've tried it 3 or 4 times, and of course, on one of those times, they got stung. You can't play that tactic if your defenders can't pass.
No. Here's Richarlison down the left. He's got a runner ahead of him. He opts to cross into the box. Oh! Well, he almost made contact.
Brilliant ball in from Richarlison.
Great ball.
Really, really good ball in, and just the stretched boot. I think it might well be... Who's in the centre there? Is it Maddison? But anyway, someone's stretching the old boots out, not far away at all there. But again, look at that. Fulham trying to play out of the back.
Yeah.
By the time he gets to the right back, there's already Richarlison right in the face.
I thought initially it was Kulusevski who came sliding in.
Might well have been.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not sure. He doesn't feel like much of a slider.
But look at this. You're trying to pass out the back, and Castaigne's got... Basically, the only way that Castagne can go there, or Castagna possibly, is the only route. So Richarlison knows exactly where to block.
Richarlison looked like he might have done himself a bit of a mischief there, but he's up and running now.
I think he dinks that quite a lot, doesn't he? And then he's sprinting literally seconds later.
Yeah, there he is. He's absolutely fine.
Viv said he's looking good for the over 9.5 corners.
Yes.
Waiting for the 10-minute mark works, he said. Having a good night, mate. Having a very good night.
Yeah, really good night, yeah. And... anyone else who's waiting on anything for the second half? We were going to get on some second half goals for Valencia and Spurs. Maybe we can have some sort of combination of... they kicked off at the same time, by the way, so they will. The second half will get off sort of similar time, unlike the Italian game, which is 7:45. But yeah, we could have a look at maybe over 1.5 Valencia second half goals and over 1.5 Spurs second half goals, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird... I mean, I think for me... You're just breaking it down to the Valencia total now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So over 2.5 Valencia goals, one more. 1.25, I think it'll happen, but do I want to back a 1.25?
Maybe
no.
No.
Yes. I thought we were on the same wavelength there. I thought you were going to go no, but then you started to go and I was like,
I went with maybe not in the end.
Maybe I do. Yeah. Maybe I do want to back that. Valencia total here over 3.5, 2.2. They're against 10 Mancadis, and again, Valencia's season so far has not been good. They need to run through someone. Big chance here for Spurs into the area, laid off. Why didn't you strike it with Maddison just trying to dance his way back through? I'm all for a player not being greedy, but you're on the edge of the 6-yard box. You probably should be hitting that one. But anyway, over 3.5 Valencia goals, 2.2 looks interesting.
How's it still only 1-0? There should be.
Certainly with the second half of the first half, yeah.
So Spurs to win and over 2.5 goals is 1.78, if you fancy that. Second half Spurs to score. I can't find over 1.5 Spurs goals second half. I'm sure that'll
usually gets folded in with the total.
Yeah, Spurs are still only 1.69 to win the second half, which is backable. And over 2.5 Spurs goals is 2.38. As some of the markets just disappear. So is something happening? That's the question. No, I think is the answer.
I mean, look, I really liked Fiorentina pre-match in Italy. I have backed them. They are one of my main bets of the night. My actual money has been placed on Fiorentina. 3.05, 1-0 down, and I don't know that's a good price, particularly, or certainly an attractive price for me right now. Chance edge of the penalty area. Spurs trying to dance their way through. They want a penalty. That shouldn't be a penalty.
No, I don't think so. He's shaking his head.
Anthony Taylor's just not game.
Going back to what you were saying about Fiorentina, I think if a side are 1-0 down and I'm considering backing them at that point, I want to see them massively on top in terms of the shot count. And they're not doing that,
so that the goal's an aberration. Yeah. Especially if they're playing a team who aren't playing very well.
Yeah. I want to see them sort of like 13-3 up on the shots or something like that.
I mean, Fiorentina or draw is 1.5, so you're getting 2 results there, Fiorentina or draw, but
I can't bring myself to do it.
Not right now. I think I'm going to stick to the race to 5 corners market for Empoli, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think so. So at half-time, by the way, we will be enjoying some clips for tomorrow's Champions League games. Clubhouse TV with sportsbet.io will be live throughout the week. Tuesday night. Pete will be here. You're here tomorrow night, aren't you, for Champions League? Is that right?
I thought it was Wednesday. But
Wednesday. We will double check that. We will double check.
You have no idea how complicated our diaries are.
Yeah, we'll double check that hard time. Either way, Pete's here for one of those 2 days.
Yes, that's definitely true.
That's confirmed. And we are live. Clubhouse TV is live Tuesday, Wednesday for Champions League, and then on Thursday. And on Thursday, it is definitely me and him live on Thursday night from 5:45 onwards for those early kickoffs, right the way through until around about 10 p.m. When they finish up.
It is me tomorrow.
Ah, okay.
I have some appointments to rearrange.
And the big question is, how do I know Pete's diary better than he does?
Yeah, and well, I can't answer that. But all I can say is that...
At least I've told you now.
That was a good catch. I'm glad that came up. Otherwise, I was going to be burning through the streets of Leeds on the way here tomorrow. Look, we're coming towards the half-time mark now. Obviously, 2 minutes have added. These will be the last few seconds of this first half. Anthony Taylor's frustrated with somebody. Yeah. But yeah, this has been it's been a slow burn of a first half. Spurs were on top and looking better, but then obviously much better towards the halfway mark, and we've got our opening goal.
We have indeed. So at half-time we'll have some clips for Tuesday night's games, the 8 o'clock kickoffs, which... Pete will be here to bring you, definitely, confirmed.
100%.
Tomorrow night, he will 100% be here, we think. Let's...
That sounded vaguely threatening.
Let's hear some previews.
If he survives the night.
Yeah, let's hear some previews from the team, and we'll be back for the second half of Spurs Fulham, where it is currently 1-0 to the hosts.
We're talking Champions League. We are with Gavin Hamilton and John Driscoll, and we'll go into match day 3 into the evening, and several decent games here. We'll start with, shall we, Sevilla against Arsenal. Sevilla 4.2, the draw is 3.8, Arsenal 1.83. It's Sevilla, so we'll go to you, John, first. How are they looking? And will Ramos enjoy a game against Arsenal?
Yeah, he's loving his football, and he, always keen to show that he is the alpha male. He and Antonio Rudiger were rutting like stags the other evening when he faced Real Madrid, of course, after 19 years since he last played against them. They're an interesting team. So here, since we last spoke, they sacked the man who won the Europa League with them last season. So Mendilibar is out. Diego Alonso was the chosen replacement, who was the Uruguay coach at the World Cup, and they sacked Mendilibar without a plan. It's not a particularly cleverly run club at the moment, Sevilla. So he comes in, never having he played in Spain, but not particularly decorated player or anything. But he comes in talking of high press, aggressive football, etc., which is the sort of thing that they've tried before. Mendilibar was a different sort. So in a sense, he ticks the boxes of a modern football coach. Whether Sevilla do that, I sort of doubt. They're a very old team. Jesus Navas, obviously, we saw starring for Spain in the international break at the age of 37. So it's remarkable. They've drawn 3 games in a row. They've drawn against Lens and PSV in the Champions League so far. Both of those games, I think they were probably happy to come away with a point from each of those. They've won 1 game in 7. Arsenal should be too strong for Sevilla. Now, that's not to say write them off. It's not to say chuck your mortgage on at 1.83, because what Sevilla have, of course, is a huge amount of experience. A lot of these players have played at the top level of Champions Leagues, and vast majority of them won the Europa League last season. So don't go silly. Don't be saying that, this is, you hear a lot of disrespect, don't you, when English teams play in Europe, and I'm sure we will in the coverage in the next couple of days. But I do think Arsenal should win this game. It wouldn't be a disaster to draw this game, given that they're away to a very highly rated team. But 1.83, I don't think it's the worst price, to be honest with you, for a Sevilla team that is refinding its feet under a new manager and is mid-table in La Liga for the second year in a row.
But an Arsenal side, Gavin, who went and lost to Lens last time out, and that would be the shock. Is it good for them that they've got this doubleheader against Sevilla coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think maybe people underestimated Lens, a very strong team defensively, struggling a little bit in the French league, but they're strong defensively, and that was a tough place to visit. And so maybe people underestimated Lens. So I don't think Arsenal will. Maybe they've got that shocked them out a little bit, and that they will be more prepared for this one. They're in a good place, Arsenal, at the moment. With that showing real character to come back, and okay, they were a little bit goalkeeper assisted for that draw with Chelsea, but they showed character to come back into that, and showed that they got options on the bench this time round, and. They've only got. I think it's only Timber, the new striker, isn't it? The new signing. Sorry, the defender from Ajax. He's the only injury. So they've got pretty good options on the bench. Arteta, players who haven't quite convinced yet. Havertz hasn't quite convinced, but this would be an interesting opportunity for him. I think if he was to come in, and Trossard as well is one of those guys who can come in and impress in these sort of games. So there's options for Arsenal. The goalkeeping situation is bizarre. I don't understand why they did that. It's okay. There is this obsession with having two players for every position. But they had a perfectly good goalkeeper that they sold to Forest, didn't they? The American, as a backup. So I don't understand why they brought in Raya as well. And it seems to have sown a little bit of uncertainty in the squad. But that's the only weak link you can see really in the options that they've got. So I think they'll go for this a bit more. I think they'll be heartened by the result of the weekend, and it's a question really of looking at the starting lineup to see how Arteta rotates the team and who he brings in terms of possible early goals, and then maybe some people off the bench.
And we'll consider Arsenal maybe as a 1.83 a decent price away there at Sevilla. But one of the other sides in Spain playing tonight, not in Spain, but in Lisbon, Real Sociedad, John, they go to Benfica. Benfica with two defeats to Salzburg and Inter, and Sociedad who got themselves a win over Salzburg and a draw with Inter Milan. They'll look at this one and think, well, double header against Benfica. They look a bit shaky in Europe this season. This is a real chance here.
Yeah, it's really good, this game, isn't it? It's not, it's not an obvious one to. It wouldn't have been ITV in days gone by, would it? This game, but it is one for the specialists, but good because Benfica are not we all loved Benfica last season, didn't we? When they stormed through the group stage and were looking great, but you've got to say it was a shock defeat against Salzburg in their first game. Obviously, losing to Inter 1-0 is not the end of the world. I mean, they did have a red card early in the Salzburg game, didn't they? Which was a factor in that game, obviously. Real Sociedad were better last time out than I had given them credit for. I was sort of urging caution last time we spoke that they were excellent. Their only defeats this season are against Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. They were made to work hard at the weekend against Mallorca. Won it 1-0. Bryce Mendes, who's a very good player, a midfielder, and a Spain international, scored. But they gave up chances, and they were certainly happy to come away with a 1-0. They arrested Takekubo, who was La Liga's Player of the Month for September, who got given his award just before the game, the Japan International. But he came off the bench and he set up the goal just after the hour, came on the hour and set up the goal. And as I've said before, I've got a huge amount of admiration for Real Sociedad. It's not a big club historically. It hasn't got a big budget, this club, but they've got a good half of every match day team they send out are homegrown players, and then pepped up with a smattering of international stars, but again not massively expensively acquired, like Takekubo, of course, who effectively been rejected by Real Madrid. So they're a terrific team. They're not giddy. They're well organised, hard working. Should be absolutely fascinating. Real, pivotal. Obviously, this double header is huge, isn't it? Because you play the same teams twice, and if you come up against someone you might consider a direct rival, then it's excellent. And sometimes the last couple of match days are sort of done by then. So these two games should be great. And who will win? I don't know. That's it's one of those that are really hard to call.
Gavin, we were talking about Benfica before, maybe just losing one player too many over the last few seasons if they've sold off players a little bit earlier than maybe they would have thought, the likes of Enzo Fernandez. But 2.16 at home against Sociedad. They're not struggling particularly if you look at results at home, Benfica, but they beat Porto 1-0. Porto had a man sent off after 19 minutes and only got the one, Di Maria with the goal late on, Di Maria going back to Benfica. And then a 90th minute winner at Estoril, where you just think the old Benfica side would have been 4-0 up by then. It doesn't quite feel right for them.
No, and they're really missing Goncalo Ramos, who's obviously gone to PSG. That was a big loss over the summer, and they're not scoring goals. They haven't scored in the opening 2 Champions League games. They're scoring in Portugal, that win you mentioned against Porto, but they're not really killing off teams in the way they were in recent seasons. And it's always a fine balancing act for all Portuguese teams, and that they are selling players onto the bigger leagues. And Porto did it as well in the summer, sold a player to Saudi Arabia, and it's a very fine balancing act. So this is potentially tricky for Benfica. I think Sociedad themselves haven't scored that many goals, but Kubo is a wonderful player, and presumably rested at the weekend, came off the bench. Presumably he'll start against Benfica, and that possibly will give them the edge. I think it'll be a low scoring game, but I think I can see Sociedad edging this one. I think Benfica home form is good, but I just think I fancy Sociedad to maybe have the edge in this one, and it'll be a tight one, and a low scoring one. But I think they might just edge it.
Yeah, it might be the value on Tuesday evening if you're looking for somewhere to place your bets, with Benfica taking on Real Sociedad. Madrid should be all right at Braga today, John?
Question mark. Braga, decent form, isn't it? 4 straight wins since the Napoli game, beat Union Berlin 3-2. But Real Madrid obviously got the win against Napoli. It was a tremendously fun game. Worst handball. There's a specialist genre of bad handball decisions going round, with referees in very tight competition for that. But I think this was possibly the worst, wasn't it? 2 players sliding in. The Napoli player, I forget who it was, trying to hook the ball across. And it was Nacho sliding back with him, and it just hit his hand as they're both sliding to the ball, and it was ludicrous, and he get the handball. Valverde then won it. It goes one of these awful ones that goes down as an own goal against the goalkeeper. He hits it an absolute rocket, and it hit the back of the goalkeeper's head and off the bar and goes in. Good performance, Real Madrid. They're strong. I maintain my reservation, which is that they've got a huge gap at centre forward, and they've waited now 2 seasons with a huge gap in their budget, their allowable expenses in the Liga's FFP, and they've left it there for Mbappe, and they haven't signed Mbappe. But they're other than that, they're ripping it up. 1-1 draw with Sevilla at the weekend. Alaba scored an own goal, and then Carvajal scored an absolute belter, good old like Sergio Ramos style thumping header from across to get them a point. I think they will be too strong. I mean, every season in the group stage they mess one up somewhere along the line, don't they? And then come through when it really matters. But they're good, Real Madrid, so they should be too strong for Braga.
And Gavin, I'm just looking at the incredible form of Union Berlin at the moment, who have 8 consecutive defeats now. And so I'm looking at Napoli's price thinking, well, 1.96 to go away to a side that's lost 8 in a row. And they started so well this season. I think they won 3 in a row. Yeah. Cup tie into the first 2 games of the season. Here we go, we're off again. And it's just fallen apart, hasn't it? I mean, you've got to say, close to odds against Napoli. That's a really good price.
Yeah, and Union. I mean, okay, they've just had an extraordinary run, haven't they, this last few years? And it was going to come to a stop at some point, because it's just been such an incredible story. And I don't think playing Champions League games at Olympic Stadium has helped. That's an issue, I think, because they've got this tight little ground where they've turned a lot of teams over with their sort of organisation and their sort of team spirit and everything else. And it's not about playing free-flowing, entertaining football. So in the Champions League, in the Olympic Stadium, it's a very different situation. So, and they lost at the weekend 3-0 to Stuttgart, who've got an outstanding striker in Guirassi, this new kid who's now the Bundesliga top scorer. A heavy defeat at the weekend. So it all points to Napoli, although there are the doubts about Osimhen, who's injured, I think, at the weekend. But Kvaratskhelia weighed in with a couple of goals at the weekend. So this is a game for Napoli to really have a go at Union, because Union's strength is their defensive organisation. That's been what carried them through to the latter stages of the Europa League last season. It's Napoli's attack against Union's defence. So it's whether you think that Napoli have got the armoury to break through. So it potentially could be quite a frustrating night for Napoli. So potentially quite a low scoring game. But I think Napoli will find a way through eventually. But it could be quite a late scoring game.
Covering every game of the English Premier League, Champions League and Europa League, live as they happen. This is Clubhouse TV.
Yes, hello, welcome back. Second half about to begin. Teams are out on the pitch. It is Spurs against Fulham, and it is currently 1-0 to Spurs, but probably should have been a lot more convincing at the break. But don't worry, because Spurs score plenty of second half goals and Fulham concede plenty.
Yep.
That's what the stats are telling us, Pete.
100%. Listen, Spurs are on top in this game. 5 shots to 1, 3 off target to 3, I suppose. If you want to push that in, 3 shots blocked, total dominance. Spurs will score more. Let's go home. I mean, look, second goal, 1.56 Spurs. That's fair. I'm sticking to the handicap. My best bet pre-match in this game was the -1 Spurs. That is a really solid price. I'm not going to back away from that. I still think Spurs win this so comfortably. I can't find any route. I mean, over 2.5 Spurs goals is 2.38, which I think is also...
I think that's lovely.
Yeah, and well for that. Ball down this left-hand side for Spurs. Bit of a wild ball back, bouncing around on the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Fulham might manage to emerge from this with the ball, and they do. I'm not worried about Spurs at all here. They're going to be top of the league, and they are deserving of it at the moment. And also, I wasn't ready to come back on air, so I was eating during the break, and I've still got a little bit of food in my mouth.
So apologies for that. Yeah, I should have given him a little bit more warning. Player to score the next goal market. Lots of options here. Now, Son, of course, has got the goal so far. He's 4.4 to score the next goal. We've got James Maddison 6.7 to score the next goal. We've got, where is he? Oh, there he is, Kulusevski, 10.5.
I wouldn't mind that, you know.
Outside of that, those three, anyone at all who interest you?
Well, Højbjerg's had chances.
Yeah.
So he's 20. Kulusevski's 10.5. Richarlison's put a 1 wide and he's 6.7. In truth, I think the two I would pick here are probably Heung-min Son. Sorry to be boring. 4.5. And I've backed Maddison pre-match, so I'm going to leave that a little bit, even though I do think he stands a good chance of scoring. I'm going to go Heung-min Son, and I'm probably going to go, I think that's a good shout, Kulusevski, 10.5. I think that's a fair shout from yourself, Jack. I like that.
Yeah, that's played to score next goal market as well, just to clarify that. Yeah. Spurs clean sheet in this one, 1.62. Spurs win the second half. 1.7 Spurs to win the second half.
1.7 is a great price. Yeah, that's a really good spot. I'm not sure I'd do it to nil. I'm not a big 2-0 player.
No, I'm not. No,
you can back a team to dominate and they'll hit 5 and then still concede 1 and you've lost your market because you've done it to nil. Listen, I'm not saying it's a bad market. I'm just saying it's not a market that I play a lot. But I would be very happy with Spurs to win the second half for sure.
Let's go goals, says Navidart, and Mario says useless Fiorentina. We're 10 minutes into...
Me there? What a horrible personal attack.
We're into the second half of that one, 10 minutes in. It's still fairly level. Fiorentina just edging it on the shots, but both sides 3 on target. And you'll be pleased to know that Empoli are still leading the corner counts.
Yeah, only just 3-2 at the moment, but the race to 5, the great thing about the race to 5 is we've got corners in the pocket until, Fiorentina could go 4-3 up next, and as long as the next 2 corners after that go Empoli's way. The race to 5, a lot of bookmakers don't do anymore, but there used to be a race to 2 and race to 3 goal market. Yes. And it was a hard market for bookmakers to price up. But it was, Jack can attest to this, basically the only market I ever played. I absolutely loved the race to 2-3 goals.
It was a race to 2 advocate.
Yeah, it really was. So to get that in the corners market, I think is a really nice it's a nice middle ground. I think it's a nice play. That I think it's a
Yeah.
good offering. So. Yeah, I like that.
The great thing about it was that if you thought that over 1.5 team goals was a bit short, you knew that by going to the race to market, you'd get a slightly bigger price.
Yeah, you would always get a bigger price in the race to market than you would next goal, which was always a bit bonkers to me, but it was what it was. Valencia 2-0 up over Cadiz, of course. Obviously, we played the over 2.5 Valencia goals. Next goal, Valencia, 1.5. It's short, but I'm not against that.
Right, just to count up where we're at with the free bet. So tonight it is a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1 VAR check. It is 2 goals. It is 3 cards and 4 corners. Now the corners is in. We've done that bit. We've had one of the 3 cards that require. Højbjerg has got that for us. And then we've had one of the 2 goals. So far, no VAR check. So we need 1 VAR check, 1 goal. I mean, they could be linked, of course.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good thing about it.
And then, of course, we need a couple of cards as well. And that's all we need for a 10 USDT free bet to be given away tonight.
Could be a chance here. Brilliant ball around the back. Decordova Reid can't quite get it under control. It was a lovely switch of play there. And Udoji, to be fair, has mopped up very nicely indeed. Still not convinced on that guy, I've got to say. But
Udoji.
Yeah, that was a very good tackle, nevertheless. And good
Looks a bit clumsy at times.
Just decision making just looks a little bit off to me on occasion.
Yeah, he feels actually like a typical Spurs defender because for a while they've had a lot of players like that. I'm thinking
that's a good shout.
Yeah, Davinson Sanchez and a few before him as well that kind of they all feel quite samey.
Yeah. I know literally exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So let us know in the chat what you need, what you're looking for in the second half. Have you had any second half specific bets that you want to share with us? Whether that be in this game, the Valencia game, the Fiorentina game. I sense that Fiorentina are frustrating a lot of people tonight. But did anyone go for Empoli pre-match? Let us know. And any thoughts on that Valencia game as well. There's also games in Serie B and La Liga 2 as well. So plenty of games around the continent if you are getting involved. One in France as well, Saint Etienne a goal up on Laval. So any bets on those that you spotted, do let us know.
What's Saint Etienne doing in French League 2? I'll tell you, they were dreadful for a long time. And they
floundering.
They made dreadful decision after dreadful decision for about 8 years. That's what happens when you do that. And they're not actually even in the playoffs right now.
No.
Stade Lavallois, who are 1-0 down in this game, have been the best team in that league by a mile so far.
Yeah.
Have you got the stats on that game, Jack?
Yeah, I have. They will be in the playoffs, by the way, if they win it. But stats on that. Well, it's Saint Etienne, who've had 2 shots to 1. We have had 4 corners to 3 in favour of Saint Etienne. But generally speaking, it's quite even, that game.
Stade Lavallois, or Laval, the last 3 home games. They beat Valenciennes 1-0. They beat Guingamp 2-1, having conceded in the 50th minute, scoring twice late. The game before that, at home, against Cannes, they conceded first. They won 2-1. So 2 of the last 3 home games for Stade Lavallois, they've conceded the first goal and gone on to win the game. Now, they haven't played anyone who are defensively as mean as Laurent Batlet. Batley, I think it might be Batley.
But actually, to back up what you're saying, I've got the second half stats up here.
Yeah.
And Laval have had 2 shots to 1. The only shot on target in the second half has gone their way, and they've had 1 big chance according to these stats, and they've had 2 shots from inside the box as well. Saint Etienne haven't had a shot from inside the box. So the second half, they've come out with the bit between their teeth.
Yeah. So I think for me, I wouldn't say back it as such in terms of being a strong recommendation, but they're the better team, who are having a better second half, who have come from behind to win a couple of games, and they're 15 in the price. I mean, well, this is the bet, isn't it? Stade Lavallois or draw, 3.25. So win or draw, Stade Lavallois, 3.25. I know it's down in French League 2, but there's value's value, and I think that could be very good value. Basically, Stade Lavallois not to lose.
Indeed. And Fulham are trying not to lose. They've got a free kick on the edge of the area.
To lose. French team.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Yeah. He's here, not all week, but he's here tomorrow. Willian with the free kick, and it is nodded away by Richarlison. And it will be out for a throw. He's back defending, and he's done enough.
Had a decent half chance a few moments ago that there as well, though. Richarlison just sort of slashed at it a little bit inside the Fulham penalty area. Just over 7 to be the next goal scorer now, and might not be the worst shot in the world. Iwobi trying to just pull a few strings here.
Yeah, well, you don't want your next goal scorer slashing, I suppose, but hopefully he shows a bit more composure. We have another goal coming your way, I think, here. And once again, it's in Fulham possession in their own half. What have they done here? Still passing it around.
If they're about to do exactly what I've just told them not to do several times.
I think they might have done. It has gone into the path of Son again, played in. Oh, and it's in! And Pete, tell us why you're celebrating.
Well, firstly, I was right. And they tried to play out of the defence again with an entirely static midfield. And basically then you find yourself the centre-back on the edge of the penalty area, right-hand side, with literally nowhere to go. They give the ball away, and James Maddison slots it in. So the pre-match 2.2, one of the best bets of the day, one of the 3 best bets of the day. A big James Butler tick.
Look how much room there is there.
Where is he meant to go?
Yeah.
I mean, just atrocious.
And Bassey's playing him on side by a country mile.
Well, he's playing him on side because obviously he doesn't expect the ball.
Yeah.
He's gone deep, basically, so that the other defender can bring it back and roll it into him. So by that point, he's like, well, there's nowhere else. He is probably in the right position.
Yeah.
It's just that the mess of the rest of it, it means that it looks like it's his fault for playing him on side.
Atrocious, isn't it?
But anyway, 2.2, the pre-match anytime goal scorer bet lands.
It does indeed, yes.
I'll take that.
And also, it is the first of our second half goals we require for Spurs.
Yeah.
And it's also the second goal that we need for the free bet. Although I'm hearing a VAR check here.
Now this could be the perfect. This could be the perfect scenario.
This could be the ideal mix.
You could have just been given a lovely free VAR check there.
Yeah.
We will see.
What a potentially fruitful cocktail this could be.
Yeah, we need to see the official VAR check on our screens. Remember, if it's a VAR check, we need to see the official VAR check on our screens. I think Emerson Royale about to come on for Spurs as well to replace Udoji. We will see, but at the moment, it doesn't look like a VAR check at this end.
No. I'm trying to work out if it is or not.
We would have seen by this point, surely.
I think we would have done. The little box would have popped up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you would have seen the referee doing this.
Yeah. Well, we've got the goal. Not the VAR check, but the goal.
Yeah, and that's good news.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not VAR check. So there we go. No VAR check. What are you talking? Who was it? Brahim and Navidad?
Yeah, but the camera did pan on to Maddison looking at Anthony Taylor, and Anthony Taylor almost looking like he was listening.
I love
to
the
something.
idea of I obviously in our job we actually know a few match directors. I love the idea of them going, make him think there'll be a VAR check. Go tight on Maddison, then go tight on Taylor, and then back again. Camera too tight on. Yeah. Camera too tight on there.
Tell Anthony Taylor to look pensive.
Yeah. If you have that power.
Here's another corner. It's Fulham's this time. Keeper comes and tips it away, and that's going to be a second successive corner. Oh, what are we on the corner count now? We're nearly at 10.5, aren't we?
Well, I think we're at 7 before this one's taken, so that might be 8. So you're over 11.5, which I think 10.5, which was I think your best bet, wasn't it? Or one of them anyway.
Yeah.
In a very good position. But Maddison scores, which is good. Spurs won the first half, which is good. We've had a profitable evening so far, which is nice to see. Willian's corner, edge of the 6-yard box, very powerfully nodded away, and Heung-min Son trying to bring this one clear.
Yeah, and Bassey will take over, but yeah, that is another corner. Keep racking those corners up. That'll do for me. Spurs 2, Fulham 0. Right, where do we go next? I assume we go more Spurs goals. Spurs' third goal of the game, 1.8.
Yes, please. The over 1.5.
Yeah.
1.4, which we said was short, but even then, 1.4 for that to land. So,
and it's 1.5. Talking short, it's 1.53 for over 2.5 Spurs goals now.
Right, and I would play that.
Yeah.
100% would play that.
And Spurs were 1.7 to win the second half as well, remember? So that's looking all right.
And the -1 pre-match, which was my best result bet, is now live. I mean, obviously not landed, but if it stayed the same, it would be. So this has been a very profitable game so far, folks. Hopefully you've been involved in some of it, or you've made your money on some other bets of your own.
3-3 corners, Fiorentina Empoli now. So we need Empoli to pull their finger out when it comes to corners. And let's have a quick look at the stats for that Valencia game as well. I just hope that one doesn't peter out now. With there being, I mean, it's just.
You looked at me when you said that. It just made me laugh so much. Let's just hope it doesn't peter out. It just made me. What have you just done there, Vicario? What have you just done there? You just tried a diving header. That's a great tackle to defend and deal with it. Vicario are incredibly apologetic immediately.
And so he should be.
I mean, what's the aim there, mate? I know what I'll do. I'll do a leaning dive header out to an opposing player. He made a great save earlier on, though, so far.
He did, yeah, absolutely. Stats-wise on that Valencia game, 4 shots on target to 0 in favour of the hosts, 5 off target. They are losing the corner count, though, 4-2 to Cadiz currently in that one. So, yeah, strange how the corners can sort of not match what's going on in the rest of the game. But it is Valencia who lead by 2-0, and over 2.5 goals is 1.37. Over 3.5 goals is 2.7. Valencia to grab the third goal in that one is 1.7. And you can have a look at the correct score markets or the handicap should you fancy it. Over 3.5 Valencia goals, 3.75. Total corners under over 9.5. Race to 7 corners, 4.4 for Cadiz, 8.2 for Valencia. But no one needs to go for it now necessarily in that game. No, so I guess I probably would avoid a race 2 on the corners for now.
Yeah, hopefully the 5's going to come in. But as you said, in Italy, Jack, it's 3 apiece in that one. I think you'll be more than fine for your corners in this game.
I hope so,
this Premier League game. I think you'll be more than fine. Someone who's it said, where are the cards, though? Hacken,
where are the cards?
Just the one, and obviously with the Doji going off, it gets trickier. Look, we only need 2 more cards for that free bet to be triggered. So
they can sometimes come in the same incident, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. Well,
we did the VAR check, do we officially?
Yeah, sorry, I meant that part of the.
Yes.
Sorry, apologies, that was my fault. That part of the free bet requirement.
I'm very disappointed that was not a VAR check.
Yeah, I mean
the camera operator tricking us like that, very unfair.
I mean, should we attack them?
It's an option.
Well, we might. Should think about doing it.
Did we mention the halftime changes for Fulham?
Iwobi came on.
Yeah, and Jimenez came on as well.
Yeah,
I did see Jimenez, but and I haven't seen him since. But he's on the field somewhere.
But I see Harry Wilson as well, who had a good international break.
He did indeed. Yes,
lovely goal that.
It was. So Fulham making a change. I am surprised he doesn't start more games for Fulham.
He's a really good player. Yeah. I really like Harry Wilson. He's the exact kind of midfielder I'd want in my team.
Yeah.
You know, the ball comes to him cultured, but every now and again he'll stick a foot in. You know, I really like Harry Wilson. I'm a big fan of him. And also, I agree. I think he's a little harshly treated at times.
And also in a team where there's clearly not enough goals, there's clearly not enough creativity. You've got Harry Wilson sat on the bench.
Takes a great free kick. He scored. I did a few years ago now. It was Derby Stoke. At Stoke I did. And he was on loan at Derby at the time. And he put in an absolute stunner of a free kick. Like, it was a gorgeous goal. Superb free kick, that. He's a really good player. I'm with you, Jack. I think he's harshly treated. In fact, he's harshly treated an awful lot, really.
Yeah.
Came through at Liverpool, of course.
He did change for Spurs here as well. Let's see.
Skip, I think.
Yeah, second change of the game for Spurs. And it is Sarr who makes way.
The race to 5 has landed in Italy, but sadly for Fiorentina.
Oh, they've wrapped them up quickly.
That's a losing bet. I'll hold my hands up to that. Apologies, that is a losing recommendation. I apologise for that. But the prices were good. They were very much on top. That seemed like the right way to go, but it wasn't.
Sadly not, no. We are still hoping for a Laval comeback in France as well. We're keeping an eye on that. Plenty of games tomorrow, by the way, as well as Champions League. We have got 6 championship games tomorrow night. We've got League 1, League 2, National League as well, and a few games dotted around Europe as well.
What a pass that is. Overlapping run on the right-hand side. There's 4 Spurs players in the centre. It's just somehow found its way past everyone on the clearance, and Fulham will try and bring it clear. That should be a free kick. Book him. Oh, that's a nice moment. Hug him. Brilliant. Now book him. Oh, he's not going to book him.
It was too cosy, that, wasn't it, for booking?
He was immediately too nice. Every player should try that. Commit a foul, then hug the player you've just fouled, and see, even if after a lovely hug, the referee gives a yellow card.
That's pretty much the plot of Little Miss Hug. You know, she hugs Mr. Grumpy until he accepts it.
Oh dear.
Pretty much the plot.
Is it? Well, you know. You read. I was about to say you read too many Mr. Men books, but in truth, you probably don't. You have very good reason to be reading them.
Yeah, essential bedtime reading.
Madison, bit of an overswing of the ball out to the left-hand side. Wrong decision as well. There was a mover to his right-hand side there. That was the wrong decision.
Overhit and wrong decision.
Yeah, he did the wrong thing badly.
Terrible combo, if you ask me.
The worst combo. But Spurs are still on top. I mean, that -1 feels really cosy right now. It feels really, really comfortable. And again, the third goal, as Jack was saying earlier, 2.04 Spurs' third goal. But again, like you were saying earlier, I think I'd probably prefer just to go for another Spurs goal. Over 2.5 Spurs goals is 1.8, which I think is really nice.
It depends how much you believe that Fulham won't score in this game, I guess. And I don't really think they will, but there's always that danger, isn't there, I guess?
I mean, in this case, you are losing about 10% of your value, 1.8 to 2.04. So you're around about 10% of your value.
Yeah.
But I think in a game like this, I'd rather just have that. I'd rather lose that 10%, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
losing, just not get it.
I think I agree with that. Yeah.
Do you?
I think I do.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I think I do. Yeah, I'm a safety first man. So
good.
Yeah.
I think I do.
Yeah, I believe that I do. Is that stronger? Yeah.
No, just I do.
It's just the same. Yeah, exactly the same.
I agree. It's absolutely fine, mate.
I completely agree.
Good. I'm glad. That's what I wanted to hear. Or are you completely disagree? But just don't tell me you think you're right.
Spurs mop up a rare Fulham attack. Still 2-0, 65 minutes played. Fiorentina 0, Empoli 1 in Italy. Valencia 2, Cadiz 0. Cadiz went down to 10 men in the first half. They've got a record of not scoring on their travels, particularly often. And with 10 men, they've made it even harder for themselves in that game. 64 minutes played in that one tonight. Just going to have a look at the second half stats in that one and see if Valencia are pushing. Not really. 0.02 expected goals. One shot so far for Valencia, and that was off target. They have also had that shot from outside of the box. So we've played nearly 20 minutes of the second half. We had one shot, and it was from outside the box. That, if you ask me, is a pretty poor do.
It is. Eagle says, hello, sorry for coming late.
Hello, Eagle. That's okay.
No, it's not.
Oh, is it not?
No, unacceptable.
I think you could arrive when you like.
Should have been here on time. Hello, mate. Welcome along. Nice to be. Nice to have you with us, and let us know what you're involved in for this Premier League game, or the Spanish or Italian or whatever.
Welcome along, Eagle. Hopefully, you can enjoy a few goals and maybe a VAR check in this final 25 minutes. Oh, a couple of cards as well would be nice.
We've done the 1, 2, 3, 4 a couple of times in the studio, and every time we've done it, it's landed sort of so unbelievably easily.
Oh, really? I thought you said late.
No, it's landed so incredibly easily. So it's interesting that we're in a bit of an interesting one tonight. Chance here down this right-hand side. Goes behind Skip. Still come to the right-hand side. Sticking with the home side, and Spurs just come for... I don't think Spurs are in the mood at the moment to kind of ease up as such. Certainly not until after they get a third, and you'll start to see, I think, a D sort of slowing down.
Yeah.
But not right now.
To give you hope about the cards, by the way, in Spurs games this season, 56% of the cards that have been issued were in the second half. Does that give you hope?
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, for the cards. I mean, and again, cards come late, don't they? I mean, I can't imagine many teams whose games have cards.
No,
sort of less regularly in the final 15. Like it's just
and it's 57% for Fulham. So
solid enough. Eagles gone for over 10 corners. That's exactly what your one of your favourite bets was.
Corners have slowed down a bit though, haven't they?
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, what you need 3 more?
Yeah,
for over 10.5, which is by no stretch of imagination a kind of a massive ask.
No, it's
24 minutes of Premier League football, 3 corners.
Yeah, Fulham having a go. If they could rack up a couple of corners, that would be nice. It is Bassey in possession on the halfway line. Tim Ream has made a run, but they've gone back to Bassey.
Just because Tim Ream's just too slow.
Because he's made a run, but he's not got there yet.
He's made a run for the first time tonight, and he will not be making any more.
Broken into a jog.
In all seriousness, he's actually had a solid season so far, Tim Ream. He's been all right this year. It's a bit...
Dog had a better season already than last season, and Fulham did okay last season.
Yeah, no, did really well last season, didn't they? Yeah, they looked really good for large swathes of the season.
Well, they've just given it away here, and Spurs are on the attack. Madison's busting a gut to get into the box. They played it behind him to Son. Kulusevski, edge of the area. Tried to play it through. Back to Son, still edge of the area. Spurs have possession. Skip. He goes back almost to the halfway line.
Yeah, free bet has not landed yet, folks.
Not yet. Still waiting.
So what do we need? We need 2 cards.
1 VAR.
And 1 VAR.
Yeah, it was 1 VAR, 2 goals, 3 cards, 4 corners. So 50% of that is in.
Right. I think 2 cards is definite. And the VAR check you would hope might come as part of one of the cards, to be honest.
Yeah, and we've been tricked into that as well.
Yeah, and VAR checks, I mean, again, depends on what game and who's in charge or whatever else, but they do just sometimes happen for no reason. We've seen it.
The only thing we don't want is if Spurs grab a third, this to become non-competitive.
Yes.
That's the thing we don't want. So if Spurs are going to score a third, make it late, please. That would be my advice.
Hakan, we're not going to read your message out on air because I like working and I don't want to stop working. But I agree. But at the same time, we're not going to read that. Of course we're not going to read that.
Bit blue for a Monday.
Way too blue. Can we get it a bit more green, please?
Like this plush pitch at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Although, if you want to send me cash money, so you say 10 grand? 10 grand. If you want to send me 10 grand, I'll read it out. 20 grand.
And do it 20 grand, and they'll do it in an accent of your choice.
I will. 30 grand.
30 grand for accent. Oh, hang on here. What's happened? Palena's made a foul.
Yeah, he's been spoken to a couple of times by Anthony Taylor.
He has, yeah. Let's have a look at this.
Maddison just picking the ball up, just doing that thing of just noodling it around, and Paulinho, well, he sort of slid into it a little bit. Not slid, he sort of leant into it a little bit.
Has he got away with it? I think he might have done.
The camera's staying with him, but at the moment, it looks like it may well be a man who is getting away with another one. But surely that's that's got to be his last one now.
In the old totting up process, that must be. He must be maxed out. Surely. Anyway, let's see what Maddison can do with this.
Eagle says, no way you'd take 10k to being in CHTV.
He's open to negotiations.
I'd take cash.
Maddison curls it in, nodded at a near post,
goal.
and unfortunately comes off a Spurs head, so no corner for us, but it will be a goal kick.
It will. So annoyingly, no corner. Yeah, Jack, obviously, I think a few people, Eagle and a couple of others, praying for a corner. But Heung-min Son, you can't really argue what he does there. That's not really a header aiming for the target. That's the kind of flick it across and see what chaos can be caused.
It's not actually really a Son thing to do either, is it?
No, but it's not like one of those ones where you go, well, he should have hit the target. It's right behind him. He's running away from the goal. But it's more of a just kind of, I need to guide this to someone.
Yeah.
Kind of header. And that was solid enough.
There's another foul here.
Book him. Yes. Get in there. Wrestle him, Højbjerg.
Well, Højbjerg's already on a booking, isn't
Push
he?
him over. Oh.
Taylor's having a word.
Oh, that's not going to work, is it?
He's saying, calm it down, lads.
You're
getting Pete excited.
You're getting Pete frustrated and annoyed, which is where I've been for much of the evening since Fiorentina conceded. Although this Spurs game so far, if it ends 2-0, we've landed quite a lot of bets, to be fair. So I'm not going to complain too much about that one.
Richarlison gives the ball away and Fulham mount an attack.
A very poor one.
They were trying
the
to
ball
anyway.
straight out of play.
The words mount and attack used very loosely there.
Very much so.
Ange Postecoglou's...
Which you could also say about Manchester United.
Yeah.
High five.
Ange Postecoglou's shirt is becoming untucked in all the excitement as well.
Yeah, so I think this is actually sensible from Marco Silva here because João Paulinho has just hit about 4 people in the last 5 or so minutes. So it makes sense to sort of bring on Harrison Reed and say, look...
Although I don't like it because we want a card.
No, I don't like it either.
No.
But
I know what you mean, though,
It is sensible from Silva because there's no question that João Paulinho has just been unbelievably himself.
And there's no guarantee that he won't trip someone up or go steaming in the next 10 minutes or so. So yeah, Harrison Reed.
Yeah.
Comes on.
A perfectly average Premier League player.
Yeah. And
we're 2-0 down. Bring me an average defensively minded player.
Slightly above average in the Championship.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
Very good central midfield. He's Championship 0.5.
Definitely, yeah.
Which is too good for the Championship, but nah. Hakan,
is he a yo-yo midfielder?
No, it's weird with those players, isn't it? Those 1.5s because they're just they're definitely too good for the Championship, but the list goes on and on of players who aren't good enough for the Premier League.
Yeah, that is true.
Hakan, good thought in deleting whatever you were typing. Well done to you, my friend.
We don't want any of that.
No, we do not. This is a very friendly chat.
It's not family friendly.
You weren't being unfriendly, to be fair.
No.
But it's adult family friendly.
Yeah,
but I don't mean adult in that way. I just mean adult in.
Yeah, all right.
Harry Wilson's been.
I think we can leave it there.
Book him, and possibly me as well.
Yeah,
book us both. Book me and whoever fouled Harry Wilson.
Let's have a look. Who was it? Okay.
And no one.
Not
is
much
the
in
answer
there.
to
Not anything
no one
in that.
fouled Harry Wilson is the
Yeah.
answer to that. I think Emerson Royale just leaping. And did he land on Wilson or? I'm not
I
sure.
don't think he did. Well, I think Wilson felt something as his foot hit the ground, I think.
Yeah. Well, we will see. But
So we're definitely not getting a booking for that.
Well, no, it would be very harsh to book someone. For
Really
something.
harsh, yeah.
Just too harsh, yeah.
Yeah. Considering you've only booked one player so far, to then book someone for that would be a real change of approach.
Really going from zero to everything, aren't you?
Yeah.
But this is frustrating. I mean, I want another goal for sure. Viv says, "Is this a corner drought?" Well, actually, it just says corner drought.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like we're going to get a second goal for Empoli in Serie A.
So let me get this straight. I back Fiorentina. They go 1-0 down. So back the race to 5 for Empoli, which Empoli then lose, and Fiorentina then concede a second goal.
It's going well, actually.
I think I'm going to leave that game alone. I've exhausted my level of failure in that game.
Yeah, Emmanuel Giassi has got the goal, and Empoli are 2 goals to the good. What a strange result that one is.
Yeah, and it's going to be, we say a strange result, and obviously it absolutely is, but it's a result that Empoli really, really needed. I mean, to win at the Artemio Franchi is not easy.
No.
But that's a really, really big win for Aurelio Andreazzoli, and, Empoli might start to improve from there. Here we go. Fulham trying to pass the ball back out of their line again.
We know what happens
Way
here.
overhit pass there. Now, again, look at this. So you've got a little bit better movement here. Bit better movement, because look, that's then being dragged out. I think Madison's been dragged across.
Yeah.
That's way better. That's what you should be doing. But before, it was so slow and lazy.
But he's
when they
giving
had
it away
possession.
again here, Bassi. And they're in, and it's blocked by Ream.
That's got to be a corner. That's got to be a corner number 9. Well, Viv said it's corner number 9.
Richarlison's pointing to the corner.
Everyone's hanging around. So.
Yeah, I think it might be. But again, Fulham give it away.
Just atrocious. Do you know what? If I was a manager, I'd be going, look, I've tried this. We've been punished for it twice.
Yeah.
Lads, should we just
get rid?
Direct?
Yeah.
Just knock it.
Yeah. No corner apparently now, says Viv. No
Right,
corner.
no
We
corner.
play on. Fulham are going to play out.
That
From
looked
the
like
back.
a definite corner. Here we go again.
Playing out from the back again.
Imagine being a Fulham fan watching this. You'd be absolutely terrified every time the ball's in your
heart rate.
Look at that.
Imagine if you had a heart rate monitor on and you were a Fulham fan.
Hakan says, one more goal, yes or no? Yes. Last 15 minutes, I'm going to go one more.
Yeah, I think one more, but I think it comes late.
Yeah, I would not disagree with you on that.
Yeah, I think we get at least 10 minutes now of nothing, and then I think it comes late. Obviously nothing but entertainment from us, but nothing on the pitch. And now we'll just sit here in silence.
Yeah, and we're done. Sorry, everyone. Just entertain yourselves for the next 20 minutes.
But it is 2-0 to Spurs here on Clubhouse TV with sportsbet.io. Jack and Pete here for the remaining 10 minutes or so of this game. Back tomorrow, though, Champions League, Tuesday and Wednesday. Remember, early games in the Champions League as well, 5:45, the first set of games, 5:45 on air, and the games kick off tomorrow. There's 2, isn't there, early ones each time, and then 6 late at 8 o'clock.
And I knew all of that because I knew I was on the shift tomorrow.
Because he's on top of it all. Yeah.
So close to not being here tomorrow. Galatasaray against Bayern and Inter Salzburg are the 2 early kickoffs tomorrow.
Lovely stuff. And you heard the previews at halftime as well of those other games that are coming up tomorrow. That includes Arsenal's trip to Seville to face Seville. That could be a tough one. But they are the 1.79 favourites. Seville, of course, under new management now as well. Manchester United against FC Copenhagen, Lens against PSV, Benfica Sociedad, and Braga Real Madrid. We've also got Union Berlin against Napoli as an 8 o'clock kickoff. So loads of games to look forward to on Tuesday. We'll do it all again on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it will be Europa League and Europa Conference League, again, from 5:45 onwards.
Yeah, you and I together for even longer.
Yes.
On Thursday.
What a treat. I don't know who for, but what a treat.
Sounded a little bit sarcastic there, but yeah, cool. Spurs, look, I mean, the fact of the matter is they found it a little bit frustrating early doors. They've got their way through, and they've looked comfortable ever since. I mean, this is a really good... It's one of those examples of a team being better than the sum of its parts, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And
It's a well-coached team.
Well-coached, happy team. It's just happy. They just look, I'm not saying they're sort of jumping up and down and grinning all the time, but they just look content.
They're not far from that.
They know what they're doing. They know where they need to be. They are looking like they're having a nice time. That's got to be a cat
He won it.
Instead, it's just a brilliant tackle, apparently.
Yeah.
That's got to be a card.
2 players going down there as well.
I love just the idea of every time a player gets tackled, I'm just going, that's got to be a card.
Eagle thinks cards can land.
I think cards can land.
Yeah.
I agree with...
Anthony Taylor's bringing it back here.
I agree with Eagle saying that, but I think VAR is hard.
Oh, I think we're going to get a third Valencia goal. We wanted 2 in the second half. They've left it a little bit late for my liking, but they might be going 3 up here. Let's wait and see.
What? So, Skip wins the ball. I don't know. I mean, Richarlison holds his face despite the fact that Wilson did absolutely
Wilson's
nothing
involved
to him.
again, yeah.
He just did nothing to him.
No, it looks like that's
I wouldn't even high-five him. I'd be like, I did nothing to you, mate. You were lying.
Looks like he's not going to count that Valencia goal. Stays 2-0. So 2-0 in all 3 games tonight. 2-0 Spurs, 2-0 Empoli, 2-0 Valencia.
Home, away, home.
They say 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football, but all 3 of those teams seem quite comfortable at the moment.
And it's nonsense. I would say being 4-0 down is quite dangerous.
That's pretty dangerous.
That's unbelievably dangerous.
Is 0-0 more dangerous? Because anything could happen at 0-0.
Yeah, 0-0's more dangerous. So losing or drawing is more dangerous than being 2-0 up.
Yeah. Well, there we are.
I think
that's thrown that cliche in the bin.
I hope we put an end to that absolute nonsense.
I don't think anyone will ever use that again.
A nonsense cliche.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. It just is. It just is. Now more scrappy. Down this left-hand side, they come forward here.
It is getting a bit scrappy, yeah.
Anthony
absolutely.
Robinson just trying to... He's done well there, Robinson, to be fair to him. I believe he was at Wigan briefly?
He was, yeah. Yeah, Anthony Robinson. USA International.
USA International at Wigan.
Look at them now. Wigan in action tomorrow, by the way.
They are.
In League One. There's championship games as well. 6 on Tuesday and 6 on Wednesday as well, if you want to take a look at the betting. It's all on there on sportsbet.io right now in the upcoming games section, if you want to have a look at that. Every single league pretty much covered tomorrow here on Clubhouse TV. You'll be dipping in and out, I'm sure.
We will, yeah. We'll have a quick look at it. QPR are a bizarre team this season. They're on the points, they're rubbish. They're third bottom ahead of Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday. I've done... Is it 4? I think I've done 4 of the 12 QPR games this season, and they've been really good in all of them. They've only won 1 of the 4, but they've been really good in all of them. So every time I read something where people sort of go QPR rubbish, I go, are they? I've seen them be really good, but then obviously third bottom and struggling for points over the last 12 months, really.
They were good in sections, apparently, at the weekend against Huddersfield. Apparently Huddersfield were sort of blasted them away in the first 10 minutes and then did nothing after that. Because I don't think Huddersfield are a particularly good side. But yeah, anyway, we'll see what they do tomorrow. And you got a hunch that Middlesbrough might win away at Norwich?
Yeah, I think they probably do. I mean, look, Borough won 6 in a row now, and statistically you'd argue that the likelihood of them winning 7 is pretty low. They're going to a Norwich side, though, who were 2-0 up the other day and then blew it against Leeds, who have been a bit weird. And actually, importantly as well, Leeds found the gaps really easily against Norwich, particularly that second half, where they effectively sucked Norwich in and then kind of took them apart. Borough are really good at doing that. Borough are really good, particularly with the pace of Isaiah Jones on the right-hand side of the attack. They're really good at doing that, so... 2.54?
Yeah.
Don't mind that. I mean, 7 in a row is hard, though. It
doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, it's a tough... In the Championship, 7 in a row is a tough old thing. Although Borough... I did the Borough game at Norwich last season. Riley McGree scored an unbelievable kind of leaping scissor kick. It was a brilliant goal from Riley McGree. Borough were atrocious in that first half. Utterly atrocious. And unbelievable in the second.
Well, the last 3 Borough games, it's been 0-0 at the break.
Yeah.
And Borough have scored a second half goal in all but 1 of their away games this season.
They should have been 3-0 up at half time on Saturday, so you can sort of pop that into your info pipe.
I will. I absolutely will.
Please do.
13.
So bear in mind, towards the end of the first half, Fiorentina had 2 corners. They've now had 10 in that game. So Fiorentina have paid out the corner players very well indeed.
They certainly have. As for Norwich at home, by the way, they've won 4 of 6, but those 2 defeats have come in the last 3 games. They lost to Leicester, and then, of course, they went 2-0 up to Leeds and ended up losing that by 3 goals.
I don't think it's
2.
easy to recover straight away from that, especially a couple of days later. You know, if you go away from home then and then win 1-0 or whatever, then it's kind of a bit different. But I just think the frailties that Leeds exposed, Borough are built to also expose. Do you know what I mean? I think that kind of makes sense, but maybe not. Like I say, 7 in a row is tough going in the Championship. Fulham, decent ball in low towards the penalty spot. Knocked into the sky by Emerson Royal, who then does something bizarre, but Spurs still get away with it. Down this right-hand side. Nice work. Oh, that's lovely play from Kudashevsky. That's a sharpish challenge, but I don't think we're going to get anything there. And out to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Fulham are in. Good stop there from Vicario. Pulled off a brilliant save in the first half. That one was a bit more simple, but did very well. And that was a good moment for Marco Silva's men.
He had to be alert because he's not had anything to do for quite some time. And he pulls off a tremendous save. And it remains Spurs 2, Fulham 0 in this Premier League game tonight. Other games tomorrow, by the way, if you're having a look through in the Championship. What else have we got? We've got Swansea Watford, we've got Huddersfield Cardiff, we've got Leicester Sunderland, West
Good
Brom
game,
QPR, and Millwall Blackburn, which will probably not be a good game.
If Sunderland didn't have the injuries they've got, I'd suggest they had a chance against Leicester, but they've got some pretty key injuries, and
they have, yeah.
It's tough to be too strong on Sunderland,
Right,
I think.
here we go. There's a player down.
Come on. Let's get the card out, Anthony.
By the way, Jack Clark, it's worth mentioning, has scored 8 goals this season for
So
Sunderland.
good.
7 of those have come on the road.
Really?
Yeah, so he might be, if you're looking for a
He
goal
is
scorer.
so good, Jack Clark. He's a really good player, Jack Clark.
If you're looking for a goal scorer, though, tomorrow might be the day for him.
Raul Jimenez was never the man to... I know he's not a direct replacement for Mitrovic, but in terms of adding goals, didn't think he was the right signing.
Not been the same for a lot, obviously,
Yeah,
horrific head injury and awful to see, but not been the same player since, has he? Oh, here's a yellow card.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
He's written on it.
He's written on it.
It's Vicario who's got it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take a free yellow card.
Yeah. I don't know if we mentioned as well, Tom Kearney's on the field.
Possibly past it now, but a brilliant player in his day. One of my favourite Championship players for a number of years, Tom Kearney.
Yeah. Another foul gone in here. This is getting a bit touchy.
Getting much better for the cards, isn't it?
Yeah. We said, didn't we, on the chats, a few people were confident of the booking. We've had 2 overall, 1 in the second half. We need 1 more booking, but we also need a VAR check.
Corners have absolutely dried up, haven't they?
They have.
Here we go, playing out the back again, Fulham. And yet again, getting away with it, but
just
about, yeah. Bizarre. Really, if you can't... Look, you know Spurs are going to press you. Why not do something surprising? You know they're going to press you. It's one of Spurs' main things. So why, if you can't play the ball out the back, are you doing that? I know I keep going on about this, but it's extremely annoying.
While we're on that Leicester Sunderland game, Jack Clark 7 of his 8 goals away from home. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall 4 of his 5 goals at home. So a couple of potential goal scorers for you in
very
that
much so. Could be a good shout. That VAR never happens when you need it.
No, it doesn't, does it?
Says,
and it always happens when you don't want it as well.
Oh. Free kick. Anthony Taylor's... Is he calling somebody over?
Was he calling for the ball back?
Possibly the ball, yeah. Someone shout at him. Do that thing where you want someone to be booked and you go that.
Waving the imaginary card?
Yeah, do that. I'll take your top off. Just take the top off.
Yeah, or get out your permanent marker and draw on his head.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably be a red. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a card.
It's a card, yeah. Nearly finished in Florence. Fiorentina 0, Empoli 2.
Oh, big
nice move
chance
by
for
Fulham.
Fulham. Dropped to, I think, Kearney in the end, wasn't it? But well held by the keeper. Here's Tom Kearney. It dropped to. Honestly, before he had like an 18-month injury at one point, Tom Kearney. Before that, he was just, honestly, in the same sort of bracket as Wilson, really, this kind of smart, attacking, cultured midfielder.
That Championship season, he was tremendous, wasn't he?
He's been unbelievable wherever he's been, Tom Kearney. He's not really the future anymore, which is a shame. I mean, you want him to be, is 28 maybe? 29?
Yeah, he's not I don't think he's as old as people think he is. I'm going 29.
32.
Oh, okay. No. So he's older than we think
he's
he is.
He's exactly older than we think he is.
He's much older than we think he is. Oh, sorry about that, Tom. Actually, no, he'd be pleased with that, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
you're always pleased when people underestimate how old you are.
Yeah.
If I'd said, he's about 41, that would have been insulting.
About 3 months ago, I got asked for ID for some wine in our supermarket.
Did you?
Yeah. And I was like, are you kidding me? 36?
Yeah. You've got lots of experience drinking wine.
Because it was one of those tills where you scan it.
Yeah.
And then they've got to come over to take the security lid off. And you say, you got any ID, love? I was like, what?
Yeah.
No.
You're getting younger. You must be getting younger. Yeah.
Why have I got? Why would I carry ID at 36? And then a colleague came over and went, I think he'll be all right.
Did you show him your student rail card?
I didn't. Although I do. No, we don't need to go into that. It was a very nice moment. But I was confused that she was like, "Well, why haven't you got any ID?" I'm like, "'Cause I'm 36."
Yeah, but I have changed moisturiser recently.
I actually have changed. I actually have. Yeah. My other one, we don't need to go into this. But my other
maybe
one,
we do. There's nothing happening.
My other
on the
one
field.
was I felt getting a bit oily, so I've changed it. I've got a much more expensive one advised by my partner.
You were using Alivio, though, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I was just using lard. So eventually, yeah. A lard oil concoction of my own making.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, Fiorentina, I mean, I've got a couple of bets landing in the Spurs game, which is, I'm not going to come out tonight in profit, sort of personally. I'm going to come out basically on par, because the Spurs bets have landed for me, but I was so strong on Fiorentina tonight that it's going to kind of cancel it out a little bit, which is fine. That's, standing still when you're betting is not always the worst thing in the world. Could be the Spurs' turn to give it away on the edge of the penalty area here. Willian out to the right-hand side. 4 Fulham players in the penalty area. Little drop of the shoulder out to the right-hand side. Reed will try the cross. Go out for a corner.
We haven't had a corner for so long.
Like 1 in the second half, is it?
That's
a great turn, and now Spurs come forward here. Move to the left-hand side. 1 through the centre as well here. Bit of space on the right. That was a silly ball. Please score from this, because I want to get this VAR'd.
No, it's like flags up, I think.
Oh.
Oh dear, oh dear. Fiorentina 0, Empoli 2. Igor says we need VAR for a card. We do indeed. Still 2-0 Valencia as well. Nothing doing in the second half there.
Yeah.
And, of course, Spurs 2, Fulham 0, as you know.
As I'm presenting tomorrow, I think I'm going to do this 1, 2, 3, 4 again tomorrow in a couple of games. So get used to it, because I'll be doing it tomorrow as well, I think. Looking forward to presenting. I've not presented for a long time. Can't really do it as well as Jack or Gav. I can definitely do it better than James.
Oh, I know you're a very good presenter.
Oh, no, I'll do it way better than James. That's not a concern at all. But I don't think I'll be able to do it as well as you or Gav.
Consider this chair warmed.
Oh, well, I mean, admittedly, you'll be gone for quite a long time.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm gonna store it in a hot oven.
It'll be about 18 hours before I'm back. But I know what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. 7 minutes added on here. 7 minutes. I'm not quite sure where we're getting it from, but it's good news, because there is still time for another card and a VAR check in 7 minutes, certainly.
Just a quick Champions League request from Hakan here on a few games for tomorrow, in terms of what we think are going to happen in them. Very quickly, I wouldn't back Manchester United against Copenhagen at the price.
Nope.
Copenhagen were really... I mean, I know that it didn't quite go their way in the end last time around, but they were really, really good in that game against Bayern Munich. Bayern had to fight their way tooth and nail back into that game before, I think it was Tell with the winner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I would not be backing Manchester United at that price tomorrow. I wouldn't back Manchester United full stop at the moment. Just with the prices they're going off at, it's just not worth it. 1.31. Not a chance. Not a chance. They might even win. But there is no way I'm backing them at 1.31.
Too short that for a side that just so appalling at the back.
Yes, and so unconvincing.
So there's lots of odds-on favourites, isn't there? And they are surely the worst.
Oh, by a mile.
Yeah.
I think one of the ones I did like the look of was Lens.
Yeah.
At home against PSV. PSV, they're having a great season. They're top of the Dutch Eredivisie. I mean, obviously, it's been helped by the fact that Ajax have utterly collapsed. I think got rid of Stein today.
Yeah, he's gone this afternoon, yeah.
So, I mean, Ajax obviously are having a nightmare, but, you can only win the games in front of you and get the top of the table as it is. Chance here, Fulham back post. Blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. But Lens are 2.4 tomorrow. Don't forget they beat Arsenal.
And they're massively improved from the start of the season as well.
The Bola Delali, I think it is, or Delalis. Anyway, doesn't matter. All that matters is I think Lens are a really good bit of value tomorrow, 2.4.
Good atmosphere in that stadium.
Great atmosphere. They've had a good win against a much better team than PSV. They were one of the home teams I'd looked at. I've not done too much prep for tomorrow yet, because obviously I was prepping for tonight, and tomorrow I'll be prepped for tomorrow.
And he didn't know he was on.
And I didn't know I was on. This is prep for me just betting, which I'm now retooling very quickly. I think Bayern are a tad short at 1.43 with how well Gala played against Manchester United, but I think that was more about Man United being garbage than it was about Galatasaray being brilliant. Although, look, Galatasaray are a good side with great players. I mean, you go through that side now, the likes of Icardi and a number of other brilliant players who are slightly older, but...
Zaha's there.
Yeah, Zaha is obviously there. And
what's the Turkish fella
Dries
called?
Mertens is there, isn't he?
Andragoglu, is it? What's the...
Yeah. Not Ankara Gucci, that's a team.
That's the team, yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
And may I say, Borussia Dortmund are too big at Newcastle tomorrow. And Jack is silent because he, I think, disagrees with me wholeheartedly on this.
I did disagree with that.
But I'm talking about price here. Dortmund are having obviously a brilliant season in the Bundesliga at the moment. So we're not talking about an out-of-form Dortmund side here. We're talking about a very, very good Borussia Dortmund. So when they meet, it's Wednesday, isn't it, Dortmund?
Yeah.
So I think, just a quick heads up, because I thought I was doing Wednesday's game. Dortmund, I think, are a bit big. And certainly Dortmund or draw.
In a way, I do agree, because I think that Dortmund have really tightened up this season. And I think they are more... They're not the Dortmund that... I still think Newcastle will win it, but I think Newcastle might win it 1-0. Or certainly by a really tight margin, because I don't think Dortmund are the kind of chaotic... end-to-end merchants that we remember them as this year. I think that they're a lot more organised. They're winning games by slender margins, yes, but they're doing it in a controlled manner. So I think they'll give Newcastle a good game. Of the odds-on price, I agree with you on Lons completely, by the way. Yeah. Of the odds-on prices tomorrow, I think Napoli away at Union Berlin are probably the best. And they're closest to even, so they're 1.92.
Union are a bit of a weird side this season. They've obviously got good players and they've signed one of the best centre-backs of his generation, but he's also in his late 30s. This is a brilliant ball through here for Fulham. Chance, lovely slide ball through. Oh, you've absolutely over-egged the pudding. What an eggy pudding. And dealt with by the Spurs back line. Getting a couple of questions about that Dortmund game. I don't like Dortmund this season, says Hakan. They're having a good year. I mean, don't be fooled by the fact they're fourth. I mean, they're 1 point. Is it 1 point off the top in the Bundesliga? They should have beaten Verdi the other day, sort of more than they did. It was only the 1-0 win, and they were very good, but they should have hit 2 or 3 past them. Listen, regardless of my geographical issues with Newcastle, I like the city greatly. I'm not. This is hard to argue, and I think it is hard to argue, and maybe it is my geographical problems. I don't know that they're that great. I mean this. I don't know that Newcastle are that brilliant. That atmosphere at St James's Park is obviously unbelievable, and it's going to play into their hands. But the PSG result has been, in my opinion, blown way out of proportion to what it actually was against a PSG side who are in a weird position, who haven't. I mean, they're third, but they haven't been brilliant in French Ligue 1 this season at all. That is not an all-conquering PSG side they've taken apart. There are problems still in the dressing room. There are still problems with how PSG are running everything. Mbappe is still a problem, despite being one of the best players on the planet. Dortmund are a much more settled side. Dortmund or draw, by the way, is almost 3. And that, to me, is a really good price.
I think Newcastle win it, but I think they win it by a 1-goal margin, which... maybe does make 1.66 a little uncomfortable because that is very short. Yeah. But I still think Newcastle maybe win that.
Yeah. 25 grand wager for charity?
No, let's chat about it later.
All right, coward.
Yeah. Atletico at Celtic, 1.94. Tempted by that at all? That's a Wednesday game as well.
If I'm absolutely honest, I've not looked at that game yet.
Right,
so
okay.
I'm not going to give it. I'm not going to give anything out that I haven't looked at. Atletico have had an all right season, haven't they? Third or fourth.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they're always about third or fourth.
Yeah, well, that is true. That was an easy guess. They've scored a lot of goals, Atletico, haven't they? They've been bagging a lot of threes. I know that as well. So not sure on that. At the moment, I'll talk about it tomorrow. I've had a look, of course, but
just keep it as powder dry.
Not going to throw up anything I've not looked at, but I do like Dortmund, and we'll see on Wednesday, obviously. But I like Dortmund. Lons are my favourite bet tomorrow, though. By a mile, 2.4. They're just by a mile they're my favourite bet.
A Lons and Napoli double, which I like, is 4.65.
Yeah, I like that as well.
And there we have it. It is Spurs 2, Fulham 0. We don't get a third goal. No further goals in Spain as well. That ends 2-0 to Valencia. And we don't get a free bet, sadly. a card short and a VAR check short as well.
I'll make it slightly easier tomorrow.
Oh, good stuff. Good night, says Koki. See you tomorrow, says Genetics. Yeah, you'll see Pete tomorrow. You'll see both of us again on Thursday. Thank you very much for your contributions in the chat. We'll be back tomorrow, of course. This has been Clubhouse TV with sportsbet.io. Fun, fast and fair. And, of course, always remember to gamble responsibly.
Covering every game of the English Premier League, Champions League and Europa League, live as they happen. This is Clubhouse TV.